Yeah, so on G Portal, if you want pit stops, they've both got to be a pit stop race.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. We can't set it on their website to be any other way, which is a shame. And I imagine that's why when I've just looked at SimGrid Day, their races are 20 minutes and 40 minutes, but both of them are non-pit stop races. I imagine it's the same thing for them. Because they can't set one race as a pit stop and the other as not, they can't. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't Ripper suggest something about, like, just make it like a 45-minute race, like and make it optional if they want to pit or not?
I think he said something along them lines, yeah.
So people would struggle with tyres, but if they could get to the end with the tyres,
yeah,
they would be slower, technically, yes, and they wouldn't have to pit for fuel because they're carrying more weight. But I can't remember what he said exactly.
Yeah, no, it was something along them lines.
Right, I'm going to go quickly get a drink. If you end up going live, then I'll, I don't know,
try and do like
I'll just go back or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I'll probably hear you. The fuck? There we go. Right. Where is one? Could you just do me a glass of pop when you get a minute? Yeah, no worries, we've not started yet.
Well, I thought I had to make a drink, but I've got a Phantom, so... Yeah, boy!
Oh, Max isn't racing race one, he said. So why is he down as confirmed?
He might be racing race 2.
So we're going to have 10 for race 1.
Is more full than anything else, and this is
yeah,
the problem.
Mate. 5.
This is the problem.
4. 3. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport here for your weekly dose of Pro-Am racing. We're at the penultimate stage of the season, yet you wouldn't know it from only 8 drivers on the grid. We are expecting Keegs to be here with us in race 1. Apparently no Max Mulder in race 1, which is a shame. And Smokey Devil has to serve a race ban, so Smokey Devil should be back in for race 2. I am Matthew Duffin, joined in the commentary box by Dan Davis tonight. Ben is on holiday. So Ben, we hope you're enjoying your holiday and your time in Germany. Wish you the best of times out there and hopefully have a safe trip back home to Hungary in the coming weeks, days. I know you're not racing tomorrow night, but on back next week. Dan, good evening. It's a very frustrating evening this evening, isn't it?
Guten Tag from
Guten
Germany.
Tag, yes. Hey, learning. I like it.
I actually had to learn German in school. Didn't learn French. I had to learn German. But,
Ollie, he knows German.
I know about as I know how to say hello.
You probably have learnt what I have picked up in my 1 and a bit years travelling to Switzerland.
Well, it's Guten Tag, ich heiße Daniel.
I didn't know that one. I didn't know that one. I take it that is my name is Daniel.
Yeah, that is it. That's all I know.
Brilliant.
And I can count to, and I can probably count to 12. And that's about it.
Brilliant. Well, hey.
About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers at the minute. And
yes, love that.
I
love that.
Japanese as well. I do know some Japanese. So, yeah, it's a little bit depressing. There's more drivers in AM than we do have in Pro Am, but either way, we should still have some great and fantastic racing from some of these boys around one of the most challenging circuits in the United States of America. We're at Laguna Seca, and let's just put it this way: my back is still in one piece somehow after racing last night, because the corkscrew is, everyone knows the corkscrew. If you speak to any motorsport fan and you say the corkscrew, they'll know it's Laguna Seca that you're talking about. And one of my favourite things about the circuit that's ever been introduced is on a show here in the UK was a show called Top Gear, and Jeremy Clarkson wanted to prove that how close could you get to real life racing, to sim racing at the time, and we're talking like Gran Turismo at the time. Was it like Gran Turismo 3 or 2 or whatever it was? And he took a Honda NSX. I knew you'd get excited for this one, Matt. A Honda NSX around here.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
You see how close he could actually get, and he got nowhere near it. So, in real terms today, how close do you think we could actually get? This is the thing. You take a proper racing car driver, or you take an amateur driver, an amateur sim racer. Could they do what Jeremy Clarkson couldn't do? But that's one of my favorite facts around here, to be honest, that Jeremy Clarkson tried to do it. But either way, we are here at Laguna Seca, and it is a McLaren dominating the top at the minute with 3 at the top. Skudovic, Daz, and Exit Tips, all very good drivers. But it seemed like the McLaren last night in AM wasn't very strong. It was actually the Ferraris and the Porsche that Ginger Bush looked very, very strong. But, anyway,
it was an interesting night, wasn't it, where it seemed to be a track that McLaren, because McLaren, we know on this game, McLaren seems to be the go-to car. It's the Porsche of project cars, if you will, the McLaren on ACC. But last night it did seem to struggle a little bit. One car that isn't here, and one driver that is in that car, is our current championship leader in a Honda. Now, we do have a Porsche. That is Keegs, who is now in the lobby. Our championship leader, Louis Allen, in a Honda isn't here. And Dan, as we know as a fact, the Honda is meant to be good on the Intercontinental DLC tracks, which is Kyle Army, Suzuka Bathurst, and this. So, after last week's disastrous race at Silverstone, you'd imagine that Laguna Seca would be something Louis Allen would be well up for, a track closer to home, being from Ecuador. But he's not yet here, so a real chance for the likes of Tibbs, with Smokey Devil on a race ban. Smokey's not missing out too much as well, but Tibbs, a real chance for him to gain in this championship fight.
Yes, indeed, and I honestly think that although certain cars may suit certain circuits, it's all down to the driver at the end of the day. Yes, on paper, the Honda should be good around here, but is Louis Allen confident around here? That's the difference. Is he confident to go up to the top of the corkscrew and brake as late as he dare and commit to the corner? It's the same with the corner just before the left-hander. It's such a difficult corner, and especially a lot of these drivers learned playing this game on either Project Cars or Gran Turismo, and Laguna Seca, from those games to this game, it's completely different. The sausage curves are horrendous on this game, just like they are in the real world. So I think that for some of these guys, the ACC pure drivers will know how to drive Laguna Seca and know how to drive it well. To people who are adapting to the new design and new layout of it are really going to struggle getting it right.
And I think the thing we know... Oh, has he just got in? Brilliant to see Louis Allen here. I think the thing to notice as well, Dan, is it was said Monday night when Mike was on testing, because it's the first time I'd been able to get on Twitter over the weekend, and it was, I think me and Joe mentioned it last night, the corkscrew. That left-hander at the first part of the corkscrew feels a lot different compared to Project Cars. Feels like you have to turn into the corkscrew a little bit more. And again, is this just with ACC being newer than Project Cars, the layout and design of the circuit, the way the curbs are, the way the corners are, maybe what has been redone in the real world, so that, yes, you may know it on Project Cars and on Gran Turismo and on other games that are available, But unless you're, like you say, a pure ACC driver, you aren't going to know what this version feels like.
Yeah, I obviously think that this version is about as close as realistic as it can possibly get, including the dips, the curbs, even to the sand on the outside. You just don't. I think it's a different kind of layout. There's even like you go to the top of the corkscrew, you can see obviously the overhead cam. There's a drain that sits there.
Yeah.
Like, is that going to affect the car if you touch that drain? You know, it's very different. This like even the corner after the corkscrew. Excuse me, I was trying not to. But even like after the corkscrew, that left-hander on project cars, you could attack it more. On this, you really can't. Obviously, I'm speaking from driving a Retia and used to driving a Porsche or an Audi. Yeah.
Bit different. Bit different.
Turn one was a challenge in itself for me.
Yeah.
It's like you had to double apex Laguna Seca. I feel like I was triple apex in it. You know.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of a footage from something that got submitted to the stewards, and it's like you have to turn in once, sort of go a little deeper, turn in twice, to run a little straighter, to turn in a third time to get through 1 and 2 and out. So I get exactly what you're saying. One man though, who is close to home. From Central America, I do believe. Now, obviously, Laguna's California, but it's as close to his home circuit as he's going to get, is Tibbs. We've just said a moment ago, with Louis Allen not being here at the time, he's got the left-hander you was just on about absolutely horribly wrong. Tibbs has a chance tonight to really attack Louis Allen. Home soil for him in America, a real chance to attack him. What can Tibbs do? He's in a McLaren that, like you said, struggled last night. Tibbs in a Honda that may not, Louis Allen in a Honda that may not struggle as much. What can Tibbs do tonight, Dan? Because he's been on some form lately.
Yeah, I think Tibbs has had one of those seasons where he's had to just get himself going, you know, really get used to the car. And we obviously know Tibbs from racing in Formula One. He's now come over to ACC. He's given that a go, and he's gone for a car that's very high in downforce, a very good chassis in general. So he's kind of comfortable with the McLaren. This, in my opinion, is not the McLaren's favoured circuit. We can see in the lap times, to be fair, Sekulovic has only done a 24.5, while the Ferraris in AM were neck end of in the 23s. So it shows that the McLaren is fast here, but in these boys' hands, it seems to be struggling. It's not in its best form. And with being a long wheelbase car, low to the ground, and with the way that Laguna Seca is designed, the first sector, I think it'll be fine. It's relatively flat. The second sector and the final sector, where the elevation changes then start to kick in, I think that's where the McLaren starts to bottom out and struggle with just general pace. So Tibbs, I think he knows this circuit probably as good as everyone else, probably a little bit better being American, and you know, probably not his favourite circuit for the American circuits. I mean, it's not my favourite one. There's definitely a lot better American circuits that I would rather drive, Long Beach, but it's definitely a challenge in itself, and I think Tibbs has probably been waiting for this race most of the season to just... You always want to do good at your home soil, don't you?
100%. So if we look at the tracks, obviously we're now sort of at ACC, and this seems to be where we are for the time being on Simplay Motorsport. If we look at the tracks, whether it's PS4 or PS5 version, we have, American-wise, Laguna Seca, we have Indianapolis, Watkins Glen, and COTA. Out of them 4 tracks... Obviously, I know you don't have the PS version, the PS5 at the moment, but you have the PC version that obviously has them same tracks. Out of them 4 American circuits, what would be your recommendation as an American track? If you had to pick a go-to one, and bearing in mind, the Indianapolis, for those in the chat who have obviously seen it on Simplay Motorsport, on the Project Cars 2 version, is the old Formula 1 layout where they sort of come more into the infield than take that chicane onto the back straight. So it is a different layout to Project Cars 2. Out of them 4, Dan, which is probably your go-to one?
Well, we know for a fact that the Project Cars one is based on the IndyCar layout. So, like you say, it's the Formula 1 layout, and then there's the IndyCar layout where they don't bother doing the first sector. They just cut most of that out, which I think is a better layout for Indianapolis. But that's just my opinion. Those 4 really aren't the best options. COTA is very much a modern-day Formula 1 track. It's too much runoff, too much... it's too difficult to overtake. There's no really good overtaking opportunities bar turn 1 and the hairpin in the middle sector. Laguna Seca is an old, classic American circuit. Crazy corners, crazy runoff, ridiculous marker boards that are just 3, 2, and 1. They're not like 50 meters or whatever it is. So Laguna Seca is one of those on the edge tracks, and the other one, Watkins Glen, again another circuit that's a little bit outdated. But if I were to pick any of them, really, it would be Laguna Seca, really, in my opinion. But there's so many other like great American circuits. Like you watch the IndyCar series, there's so many great tracks and layouts. Like for example, Road America is another one that's up there. Long Beach, for example. I know obviously Long Beach follows mainly IndyCar, but it's still a fantastic track and a real challenger as well. There's Sonoma, an amazing circuit. Love Sonoma, but we don't have it on this platform, sadly. And I think that's one of the bigger circuits that I'm surprised is not on here.
Do you think that with ACC, and we're seeing this on the PC version of the game, we're seeing this in terms of the PS5 version, obviously, which is getting the updates just a little later, that they are starting to follow more of the series out there? Obviously, we know ACC was designed as a game to follow what happens in GT racing around the world. So do we think that this is something that the ACC can maybe adapt to? Look at what the American GT series is running and look at the races they go to, look at where they are, and see what tracks they can implement onto this platform of game. Obviously, we see on Project Cars, and this is one of the Project Cars benefits, really, is the amount of tracks you have. But if we look at, I'm just going onto the GT America website now, and if we look at their calendar, you have tracks, we've got St. Petersburg, the IndyCars on there. All right, it's a bit of a street track, but it's different. We have Sonoma, we've got NOLA, I couldn't tell you much about that one. We have Sebring, we've got Road America, Music City, again, don't know much about that one. Virginia Raceway. Are these tracks that maybe could come into ACC, do we think? ACC as a game, do we think they could put on these tracks for the, not just Americans, but we've got the GT Asia series. We don't have many Asian tracks, bar Bathurst and Suzuka.
I think the problem with ACC is trying too hard to stay too pure to racing. The circuits are all racetracks. There's no street circuits on this game. You could technically say that Bathurst is probably the closest thing to a street circuit. But again, it's a closed-off track. The walls are tight. That's about it, really. And I think ACC really needs to start looking at the street circuit world. I mean, it'd be a massive challenge for these guys because these guys have set their cars up to be as stiff as possible so that the car grips better on these nice, lovely surface tracks. You put them on a street circuit, you've got to completely change the setup with bumps and curves and drains. If it was me, ACC are more likely going to be looking at the big name circuits like Road America, Sonoma, even Fuji and stuff like that.
Well, I was just about to get onto this, but going back to your street circuit question, you're an IndyCar fan, you watch a lot of IndyCar. St. Petersburg is a street circuit track, and I believe, I can't remember where they was. It might have been the Virginia one for American GT at the weekend, where I believe IndyCar was as well. 2 street circuits. What is wrong with implementing them? The second thing I was going to say, again, I'm just looking at GT Asia on the internet now. We've had a British GT pack. The game itself is built around the world's GT, the European sort of platform. That's why the European circuits are mainly free. We've now got an American DLC pack for the PS5 and PC users, or the next gen and PC users. You look at the Asian circuit, right? Suzuka is on the Intercontinental one. Fine. We've got a track called Motegi. Don't know what it is, but it's another one. Okayama circuit, which I believe is built for bikes. We've just got Valencia, and we have Mugello on the PS5 and PC version. Bike circuits. Chang International Circuit in Thailand. I don't know it, but it's another track. And then there's 2 here, Dan. Fuji. Get that on the game. Yeah, I know it's a big name track, but get it on the game because Fuji's a brilliant circuit. The other one, and I think you'll agree with me on this one, because it was brilliant back in its Formula One days. Sepang. The Malaysian Grand Prix circuit. Why isn't that on here yet? If ACC is built around GT in terms of the globe, of the real-life GT racing, why do we not have Sepang and Fuji at least on this game yet?
It's probably just due to the fact that it's not being aired as much, isn't it? Let's be honest. Since Sepang has left Formula One, where have you seen Sepang since?
Yes, exactly.
You get your American GTs are still very popular and they still race these circuits. They're still massively used. I don't know if the Malaysian Grand Prix track still gets used. I know for a fact I watched a video not long ago on YouTube which was looking at abandoned F1 tracks, and I was looking at Valencia, not obviously the Valencia.
No, the street circuit. Yeah, the street circuit. Yeah.
held a couple of races, but it's not been held since. You know, it's the problem, I think, with ACC. They want to make it as pure and as simple as purist as possible. So obviously these circuits are closed off to the public, so they can obviously go and scan them correctly, get every bump, every crest, everything correct. It's a lot more difficult to do that with street circuits. The only way you would be able to do that is when there's an event on, like the Long Beach Indy Grand Prix or Monaco Grand Prix. You know, that's the only time that it'd be set up that way. But I don't know how long or what it takes to scan these tracks, but I know it takes a lot of time and effort. So that's probably why they stick to the main circuit like attraction. But it would be awesome to see, I don't know, like I said, these guys do Monaco or do Long Beach, something crazy like that, you know. But the one thing I still don't understand, and I would love to see it on ACC, because they do it, why have we not got Le Mans?
Yeah.
Le Mans.
There's rumours of the Nordschleife coming. Obviously, there is a Nordschleife 24 for the GT cars. That's one of the GT events in the year. The other one is British GT this year. British GT normally go to Spa in the middle of the season. They went to Algarve this year. There's another track that you could put maybe on the calendar. We are, though, on the parade lap. Me and Dan have had a bit of a waffle. The grid, then, for this 10-car race should be 11 cars for race 2, possibly 12 if Max Mulder is in. But Smokey Devil is on a race ban. That is why he's not here for race 1. Dean Wysocki lines up pole from Lucas Roth, a.k.a. Keegs. P3 will then be DJ Phil from PN Motorsport. Hypertech will be then P5. Daz Automatic in 6th with Noza 7th. Sekulovic 8th with Tibbs in 9th and Louis Allen rounding out the top 10. In terms of the championship, it looks a little like this. It's Louis Allen 8 points clear then of Exit Tibbs, 20 points clear of Smokey Devil. Sekulovic 35 behind. Sutty is 36 behind. He's on holiday. Argent not here. He's 56 behind. Nose is back so he can try and gain some points over Argent, as can Daz. No Bryn tonight. He's on holiday as well. And Hypertech rounds out the top 10 and the last 10 drivers who can win this championship. PM Motorsport is 11th place from X-Fate Silent with DJ Phil 13th. Smithy's P14. Max Mulder 15th. Tied on Monkey Boy 16th place. Keegs is down in 17th. Will really gain points over them two tonight with Mordecai in 18th place. A.K.A. Fix 19th. Dean Wysocki in that 20th spot. 102 points left up for grabs with 4 races left as they come into the final corner. The Constructors' Championship looks a little like this. Titanora Racing lead the way, 78 points clear of SRL Pink McLaren. Dynaco Racing 3rd, back to front 4th. East West 5th, MBR in 6th. That then, everybody can still win the Constructors' Championship until tonight. I don't know where Keegs is going. Dean's backed the pack up nicely. Keegs has left them a little bit. Dean's the one who controls the pace. They're green now, and that's really affected Keegs' start to this race. And Dean Wysocki gets a great jump down towards Turn 1. Dan, I'm not sure what Lucas Roth was doing there, but it hasn't helped him at all.
I don't know if Dean was probably a little bit too eager and then thought, oh God, I'm a little bit too fast, backed up. But either way, everyone's relatively clean through sector 1. But Sekulovic has dropped the rear and he's dropped to the back of the pack, as has PN. He's gone wide. But Dean Wysocki really struggling with the rear of his Bentley right now as he leads the way.
He does indeed, and Lucas Roth is now all over the back of him as the cameraman fails to pick them up, coming in towards turn 4. Lucas Roth has got Dean done, and Dean's actually had a wiggle on the grass, and he's going to drop down to the back of the pack, you'd imagine here. So it is Lucas Roth now who leads from Daz Automatic, who's finally got a clean start. Hypertech up into P3 at the moment, with Tibbs on the back of him. Then comes Noza, Louis Allen on the back of PMA. Whoa, who's that? That's Noza lagging all over the place there. And in fact, he's off, I believe, at the moment. So Noza struggling. I don't really know where Noza is at the minute, but Louis Allen's looking up the inside of DJ Phil coming into the corkscrew.
He is indeed, but I'm currently watching Lucas Roth, who's struggling to hold off Daz Automatic. We had a Porsche win last night, but he's under some immense pressure from a McLaren right now. But Keegs, very calm and collected young driver. He should be able to keep the McLaren behind it. But Hypertech with a decent start up to P3 as his Exit Tibbs. But we sadly, Noza dropped to the back of the pack after possibly a moment. But he was struggling with internet issues before he came into the lobby just now.
He was indeed. Lucas Roth looks like he's got a bit of damage on the back of his Porsche. Has he been rear-ended by something? Just see a couple of scuffs. So it's Lucas Roth from Daz, Hypertech from Tibbs. In fact, no, Tibbs from Hypertech. DJ Phil's got Louis Allen and Sekulovic right on the back of him. And Louis Allen, championship leader, already losing out some points to Exit Tibbs at the moment. He doesn't want to lose too many. As Tibbs is now on the podium and Louis Allen struggling. Dean Wysocki still at the back of the pack. Noza's 9th and PN's up to 8th. And with this shorter grid, they're all going to be a bit spaced out more than normal. But it is, like you say, it's Hypertech and Tibbs having a good fight. And then it's Louis Allen really struggling to get past DJ Phil at the moment in this pack.
It looks like the McLarens have already got themselves up to pressure and up to speed relatively quickly. Is now Sekulovic is now passing Louis Allen. He's going to the outside. Louis Allen has to defend the inside. It's slightly banked this left-hander, and Sekulovic can take more speed and more power around the outside, and he's able to stay alongside the Honda. But Sekulovic with slight damage to the front of his car, he's not able to get alongside the Honda. But both of them are stuck behind the Aston Martin or DJ Phil, and right now they come up to the corkscrew. Louis Allen's got to be sensible here. He's got to have a pointsy season like he's been doing all season. As Keeks has dropped the rear in the corkscrew, and he's going to drop down the order, and he's going to fall right into this scrap right now.
He is indeed, and I thought Sekulovic was going to get past Louis Allen there, but he doesn't. Louis Allen manages to hold on to that place. So Keeg struggling a little bit. Sekulovic very wide. There's Tibbs. His championship rivals made a mistake as well. So Tibbs has now dropped off the pace. DJ Phil's currently running on the podium, apart from the fact Lucas Roth was looking up the inside. Tibbs has now been overtaken by Louis Allen, who's gone deep at the final corner. And who was that off? It was DJ Phil. So now Keeg's back on the podium. Louis Allen and Tibbs going side by side towards turn one. And this is the fight for the championship here, and it's Louis Allen who's back in front of Tibbs, who now has the upper hand in his over his championship rival.
He has indeed, and keeping his nose clean, keeping it facing the right way, and Louis Allen has managed to jump ahead of the American at his home track. And now Tibbs has got a lot of work to do as he sits behind the back of the Honda, but he's going to slowly work his way through the pack. He seems to be a little bit loose through the corkscrew, so those guys are going to keep an eye on for that. But Daz Automatic, minding his own business, now leads this race with Hypertech in P2 and Lucas Roth in P3. Louis Allen, though, still leading the championship and got the advantage on track over his championship rival.
He has indeed, and it's 4 podiums the Ferrari needs to get to its 50th podium here at Simplay Motorsport, and well, it's going about it in the right way. It had one last night. Is it going to get another one here so far tonight? Sekulovic, big snap, and he rolls it backwards. Oh, how has he not hit DJ Phil there? He should have got on the brakes. He does now and gets it slowed down. Dean Wysocki could be coming through. There he is in the background as Sekulovic now bounces off the wall and rejoins the circuit, but dead last at the moment.
Is off. He's in the wall at the corkscrew, and he's now got it going again. But Tibbs dropping down the order. I think he's going to fall behind Dean Wysocki. Yes, he is. So Tibbs has had a big moment in the corkscrew, and he's now dropped behind Dean Wysocki, who was your pole man, and he's slowly working his way back up the order from people making mistakes. But Daz is extending his gap nicely to Hypertech right now.
Wow, I just saw Tibbs there on the brakes in the penultimate corner, nearly into the back of Dean Wysocki there, as Lucas Roth now needs to set after Hypertech once more. PR Motorsport actually gaining on the back of Noser, I believe he is. Yes, indeed, that is 9/10 of a second. I'm going to stay off Noser as much as possible. He seems to be struggling with lag as it is, so we're going to try and avoid going on board with Noser. We'll watch cars around him, but it's PN closing on him. Tibbs is on the back of Dean Wysocki now for position. Dean just still looks a little twitchy out of corners, and this is really slowing Tibbs down, because Tibbs has got to be patient to make sure he doesn't cause a collision here with a Bentley that is really slidewards, and Dean just catches Tibbs, and Dean's bounced into the wall.
Yeah, that car is really struggling. Not like normal Bentley characteristics right now. The setup on that car looks to be not in the best condition right now. Dean drops back to the back of the pack once again. But Tibbs now really has to...
Oh, Daz has dropped it in the corkscrew, and Hypertech leads the race from Lucas Roth. Louis Allen's now on the podium, but Daz has thrown away such an opportunity. Phil seemed to struggle through there as well. Daz has got back going, but it's down to P4 now, and has threw this opportunity away, as Lucas Roth is now gaining on the back of Hypertech. He's within that 6/10 mark.
These McLarens seem to be struggling with the corkscrew. Whether they're just bottoming out at the midpoint of the corner, I do not know. But Tibbs, Daz, and Sekulovic all having problems so far. And now the Ferrari and the Porsche looking the stronger car, with the Honda slowly working its way up the order. But the Ferrari looks very, very good round here, as does the Porsche, as proved last night with Shark Bait and also with Ginger Bush as well.
It does indeed, and Keeks just got onto the gravel there now. Hypertech's wide and onto the gravel, and I tell you what, 1, 2, 3, Ferrari, Porsche, Honda. Oh, Keeks! Bunny hops the sausage curb. Where is Louis Allen? Keeks can't keep it on the track at the minute. The camera's lost Louis Allen, picks him up now. Louis Allen is through and up to second place. So while Tibbs is struggling in his McLaren, Louis Allen's now running second place. He's not had a win all season, Dan, and he's sitting in a pretty good position at the moment.
Could this be this opportunity where he does get his one win here at Laguna Seca towards the end of the season, where he's been incredibly consistent, and he could possibly get a win now and extend his championship lead, as he's a little bit laggy. at the minute, so I'm going to come off of him. But Hypertech, though, he's got a lot of pressure behind him. But I think as long as you keep it on the black stuff, he should be relatively okay.
Now, I've just noticed here that DJ Phil has been overtaken by Noza, so that is job done for Noza. PN, I'd say, is falling into the clutches of Exit Tibbs, but he's really not. Let's watch Tibbs and Sekulovic through the corkscrew. You just hear how tentative they are on the power, as if they can't put the power down through that corkscrew. Just gone on to Dean there. Since Dean's actually had a moment and hit the wall, got front end damage, that Bentley looks a little bit more stable through the corners. Let's watch him through the corkscrew. Yeah, maybe it's the front end damage, but that Bentley looks a little more planted. That's not optimistic for tomorrow night, because I am struggling setup wise for my Bentley. But it is Hypertech who slides through the corner, and that's not going to help him. Louis Allen's going to be right on the back of him soon, and Daz needs to make up time here. But I think you're right, Dan. At the moment, the McLaren seem to be bottoming it out through the corkscrew, and that's what's costing him time and places in this race.
Well, Daz is the only one who seems relatively comfortable and stable at the minute. We saw that Sekulovic was the fastest in practice, but it's all well and good being the fastest, but if you're not consistent, it's not going to happen. But Hypertech really starting to struggle now as Louis Allen is starting to bring that gap down even closer. Hypertech just needs to keep it facing the right way. Take your time, be cautious on the power. If need be, put the traction control up just to make sure that you get the car a good exit. But right now, Louis Allen is flying in this Honda and just picking people out while they make mistakes.
Nose has had a moment somewhere. He's got big front end damage, I've just noticed here. That's put DJ Phil and Pierre Motorsport up to 5th and 6th. But Louis Allen, at the minute in his Honda, he's not had a race win. He's going great guns about it so far and creeping onto the back of Hypertech here. As Nose has now been passed by Tibbs and Sekulovic. Pit window will be opening at 1 minute. So the next lap for these drivers, the pit window will be open. And Louis Allen really starting to charge onto the back of that Ferrari. And it looks like, is it in the chat? It looks like there's a bit of fan support for Hypertech tonight. I imagine that's who John is. GBR team for life. And MKG, go on, pal, he says in the chat. So I imagine that is for John. Hypertech, a.k.a. They're coming, says Ian Law. They are coming indeed. They're not coming in their forces, though, because Keegs looks like he's dropped off the back of Louis Allen. And it looks like he's fell into the clutches of Daz Automatic.
Yeah, it looks like I think probably Keegs is struggling with rear tyre grip. Obviously, the Porsche with a rear-engine mount is really struggling with traction by the looks of these. He's got a little bit of damage to the rear, and we know for a fact that the Porsche Super Cups really do struggle when they have rear-end damage. I know that for a fact. Yep. But either way, Keegs is just thereabouts. He is sliding a lot, and I think the Porsche is just not enjoying it. Daz is also probably struggling in the dirty air of the Porsche, and obviously a car that's very...
Oh! Louis Allen, sorry Dad, he's gone across the gravel and has clipped the side of Hypertech and has now lost out to Daz and Keegs at the corkscrew. And Louis Allen, a bit of a lunge into the first part of the corkscrew, hit the side of Hypertech's car. Pit window opens now, just as the leaders come round. So Hypertech may have a bit of damage, but he's going to stay out, as is Lucas Roth. And Daz, what about Louis Allen? He dives straight into the pit lane that comes up very fast, by the way, as well. But Dan, a move that was never on for Louis Allen there, and he's caused an incident.
It is a bit of the problem with the corkscrew, you do need to make sure you have a good amount of pace over the other car to get a job done. Sekulovic has passed Tibbs, as Tibbs comes straight into the bits as well. So Noza, I'm pretty sure, will come in also. But you do have to make sure you have a significant pace over the other car so you can get the job done. As Hypertech's dropped it! Hypertech's lost the lead of the race, and it's now Keys who's back in front.
So it's ebbed and flowed all race. We've had about 5 different race leaders, from Dean Wysocki at the start to Lucas Roth again now. We've had so many different leaders. Louis Allen, Tibbs, Noza and Dean Wysocki all into the pit lane, but it's Lucas Roth from Daz. Hypertech is P3 from DJ Phil, and then Pierre Motorsport and Sekulovic. You have to wonder, is that damage on the side of Hypertech's car that has maybe cost him to be a bit unstable through the corners? Should he have pitted straight away? Kieran Argent in the chat, feel like tonight could be a missed opportunity not being able to race.
Well, I think definitely indeed. Like, if you were the top guys are struggling, and at the minute, Lucas Roth in the Porsche is the one who's on top. Daz Automatic also he's a little bit twitchy here and there, but he's probably the most stable looking car out on track.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Lucas Roth and Daz both stay out. I wonder if Hypertech is now going to box. Tibbs and Louis Allen are done and in and out the pits. Noza and Dean, we know, had big damage. The bonnets was lifted, so I wonder if they're going to be in for a while. Is this where Hypertech decides to box? Indeed it is. Hypertech's going to come in. What about the two Aston Martins? Teammates can pit together now, and DJ Phil stays out. PN into the pits. Sekulovic with damage to the front of his McLaren is also going to stay out. But Louis Allen now, did he repair damage? He's come out. He's got good gap in front of him. With less cars on the track tonight, half the cars missing, he has a chance to really pump in some good lap times while Hypertech's in the pits.
Daz is right on the rear wing of the Porsche of Keegs right now. Now, the problem with Daz here is he's going to be held up quite badly by Keegs right now. So if he stays behind him too long, Louis Allen will get the benefit of clear air. No cars in his way. So I think now Daz needs to make a decision whether or not he needs to pit and clear Keegs, or just do the opposite of whatever Keegs does. If Keegs decides to pit, he stays out and pumps some decent lap times in. But right now, he's being held up.
Yeah, he is being held up, you're right, but he's got to get it through the Corsa, where it looks like the McLaren has seemed to struggle, and that seems to be where Keegs is finding lap time, although Daz looked pretty good through there tonight. Teammates they was on Friday night for the Simplay Racing team. They're rivals tonight, and Daz wants a race win on the track. He only had one this season, but it was given to him through penalties. Keegs a little wide on the exit of the corner, but Daz must be listening, Dan, because he's in the pits.
He is into the pits. He was starting to hold him up quite badly. So Keegs now, with cleaner himself, what can he do? But Daz into the pits. Can he clear Louis Allen, who's currently in the first, or going into the second sector?
Yeah, just noticed as well, Dean Wasocki has jumped Noser in the pits by 19 seconds. Dean has jumped him. Sekulovic is into the pits. So this is interesting. Another thing to note here, Daz and Louis Allen are teammates. What is Dan's tactic tonight? Obviously, Daz will want to win the race outright, but he's got to help his teammate at some point. They're 78 points clear of the next team in the Constructors' battle. With no Max Mulder here for race one, that's going to help them out wherever they both finish over Tibbs. Does he help Louis Allen in this championship fight? Louis at the corkscrew. Daz is yet to be away. Louis now at the left-hander, so 3 corners to go for Louis Allen. Daz still not really away at the moment. This seems a bit of a long pit stop. I wonder if Daz has had a bit of damage at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he's still got to get through the final sector, so Louis Allen's still got to get through the final corner and get traction. Daz has now moved, so he's going to come to the exit line just now. He will have the inside as well. Louis jumped past.
Yeah.
So this is what I meant. Keegs, although he was leading the race, he was holding him up, and Louis Allen, with the clear air, has jumped his teammate.
Hypertech's off again. A span just in front of Lucas Roth at the penultimate corner as Keegs comes into the pits. Hypertech, not only did he get jumped by Sekulovic, Tibbs and PM Motorsport, he's also now had a moment himself at the final corner. So Hypertech, his race has gone from bad to worse. What a shame for him at the minute.
Yeah, what a shame. As Lucas Roth now comes into the pits, I think he might lose out to Louis Allen. Yeah. If it was that easy for him against Daz, I think Keegs was struggling with overall pace anyway. Louis Allen now on his own. No one to worry about. Did he repair the damage? That's the thing. Is that why he's got such a jump?
So at the minute, we've had Dean Wasocki, we've had Lucas Roth, we've had Daz Automatic, we've had Hypertech. I don't think we had Louis Allen. We then had Lucas Roth again. We've now got DJ Phil in the lead of this race. We've had 6 different leaders in half the time the race has gone on. Exit Tibbs trying to get on the back of Sekulovic. Sekulovic obviously didn't repair his damage and has been jumped by Tibbs here. Hypertech with more damage on his car. He's got a good gap back to Dean Wasocki, but it's Lucas Roth who's now away.
He's dropped.
Yeah, he's had a good stop here. Louis Allen, has he had a problem on his lap that Keegs had his in-lap, sorry?
No, but did Daz repair damage? Is that
possibly
why?
Well, there's Lucas Roth. We see the camera under the bridge. It says the WeatherTech sign there. We now pan to the other side. Louis Allen wasn't even in shot as the camera comes around. There is Louis Allen, but Keegs is going to have that narrower line into turn 1. It is a little tighter on pit lane than on the actual track, and here comes Louis Allen. Has he got the momentum out of the corner? Keegs has a big wiggle out of the pit lane, and Louis Allen has a look on the inside, but Lucas Roth stays in the mathematical lead of this race because DJ Phil's yet to pit.
Yeah, he is still leading his race, but he has got to get those tyres and pressures up now, because if he doesn't, Louis Allen's going to be really pressurized. Louis was with his lag as well. It's really going to be off-putting Keegs possibly. And right now, Louis Allen has to just pick his time. He can't just lunge it into the corkscrew. Your best bet is either the final corner or turn 1, really, around here. And I think Louis Allen just needs to size up that Porsche and find out where it's weak.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Dan, as Keegs now comes to that right-hand side of the straight into the corkscrew. There you go. And it's all through nice and clean at the moment. DJ Phil is in the pits. Dean Wasocki then is being caught by nose. That gap was at 19 seconds 2 laps ago. It's now down to 11.5 as Tibbs is 2.6 off the back of Sekulovic. Let's keep our eyes on that. Shane in the chat looks like no one wants to win. Dean's had a moment. Well held from Dean Wasocki there. The Keegs would have had a heart-in-mouth moment there, seeing that massive tank of a car be in the way across the track as Dean, I don't know if he's gone wide in the final corner, deliberate to let the leaders through, or just made a mistake, but either way, that is the 2 leaders through, and that'll be very thankful as DJ Phil's on his way out. Could this be a good stop here? Sekulovic is on the straight. Tibbs, no, he's going to be about PN Motorsport where he was last time.
Yeah, he was. As Louis Allen looks to the inside of turn 1, and we had this issue the other night at turn 1. This is kind of like a double apex corner, and Louis Allen thought about hitting the second apex, but Keegs running wide to take the natural line, and Louis Allen had a sniff of an opportunity, but thought better of it. But the longer he takes behind Keegs, Daz is going to be slowly catching on to the back of these two, with a fresh car as well. Yeah,
the problem is, though, does Daz attack his teammate? That's the biggest question at the moment. Does Daz attack his teammate? Lucas Roth looks like he's done a fantastic job. We've seen him last week against Sutty. We saw him at Zandvoort against, I can't remember who, I think it may have been Max Mulder, defend really well as Lucas Roth. And he seems a rejuvenated driver this season since coming back.
Yeah, he has indeed. And obviously he did that one race in the Jaguar and realised that the Jag was horrendous, just as bad as the Retia.
Yeah.
But either way, he is now more comfortable in his Porsche. I don't think it was his first choice either. But he's looking good. I believe Louis Allen's giving him a hard time.
Do you want to know how Keegs come about the Porsche?
I think I know, but remind me.
So for those who have seen the game in Motion 5, my Twitch channel, and know that I use the random wheel of names for something on Football Manager, Keegs used the same wheel, put every car on it, and the Porsche came out. Fun fact, for next season, he got me to do it the other day when I was doing the calendar on a PlayStation party with him. The final 4 cars was the Aston Martin V12, the Retia, the Jaguar, and I believe it was the BMW M6. He came out the M6. Keeg says, I'll redo it another time when the season gets closer. Didn't fancy that one.
I think you should do in the Retia.
Well, I mean, of all 3 cars to have in your final 4, Jag, Retia, Aston V12.
Yeah,
not the 3 cars you'd really want.
The one he didn't like, the one that drives horrendously bad, and I can definitely say that for sure. Yeah, and then 2 cars that probably are a little bit sketchy. But either way, Dean Wasocki is now allowing Daz to go through. Nose is now starting to catch Dean, as Dean's really struggling. Has he struggled with pressures? We know, Matt, obviously you have in a practice session, your pressures went really low, and to the point that Dean is driving in the same characteristics as that problem.
Yeah. Oh! Keegs has made a mistake at the corkscrew. Louis right on the back of him now. I think Keegs has just done enough to get it back on the circuit and to stay ahead of Louis Allen. Yes, he has at the moment. So that'll help Daz get through, especially now Daz is ahead of Dean. But yes, Dan, you're right. The Bentley the other night, under pressured tyres, felt absolutely horrific. And you was even catching in the Retia. And that's not nothing against you. It was against the car more than anything as the pit window closed. Not that it matters.
Another fight to keep an eye on is Hypertech is now caught onto the back of PM Motorsport, and also obviously DJ Phil, who's just ahead of him. So the 2 Aston Martins might be under some pressure now from Hypertech in the Ferrari. But at the minute, Exit Tibbs not really making any form of moves on Sekulovic. If anything, he's fallen back from Sekulovic. And Daz, he's really not making any inroads on these 2 either.
No, he's not. He's really not done anything here, as there's another fan in the chat for Hypertech here. So Hypertech's brought his fan club with him tonight. Well, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you do so. As Louis Allen on the gravel a little bit there. I'd say grass, but it's more dirt here in the desert. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. Hit the thumbs up button as well to like the stream if you enjoy what me and Dan bring to you tonight. And don't forget to hit that big bell to be notified when we are live tomorrow night, 8 PM UK time, for Dan Davis and PM Motorsport in the commentary box for the Pro Series. And I tell you what, to say there's only 10 drivers out there, there's been plenty of dramas.
I think we should have 10 drivers more often. We were having a little moan that there wasn't a lot of drivers, but hey, so far it's been
it's been fantastic.
I mean, most of these cars are only separated by a couple of seconds, so it is still relatively close racing. I mean, Hypertech now within 7/10 of PN, and PN's only 1.7 off the back of DJ Phil, with Exit Tibbs a little bit further back from Sekulovic, but Sekulovic is starting to catch Daz, who is now starting to make inroads on the top 2, but it's too little too late.
Well, which begs the question, was he struggling behind that dirty air of the Bentley while the Bentley was struggling itself? Was Daz being a little cautious in lapping Dean Wasocki then. As PM Motorsport is being caught by Hypertech, the leaders have the gap back down to under half a second, and I tell you what, Keegs is doing a very good defensive job. No, not again!
He caught onto the back of the Aston Martin pairing and just lost the rear. I think that car's also suffering with the dirty air as well.
Yeah.
DJ Phil is actually going to become under pressure from his own teammate now, as PN is flashing at him as they head towards turn 1.
Flashing at him, the British Racing Green. PN Motorsport says he races in this season, and you know what? He's flashed him, and DJ Phil obliges, and PN misses his apex, and Phil's going to attack back at him. No, he doesn't. He lets PN keep that. That's a bit comical there, that flash. Move out my way, teammate obliges, and you miss the apex by a mile.
Yeah, Louis Allen, though, has had a great run heading up towards corkscrew. Is he going to think about doing it again? He goes to the outside, but Keeks shuts that door quite firmly shut as they now go through the corkscrew. The Honda just looks so much more planted through there.
And we said the Honda was a good car as it looked like it was tucking underneath Lucas Roth there. We said the Honda's good on the Intercontinental tracks. This is what it is, and this is where it should be good. Mike was saying earlier in the season how good the Honda felt at Kyle Army, another one of the Intercontinental circuits. There's Daz in the background, though. He's dropped back to 4.1 seconds off the back. Tibbs now 9 seconds behind Sekulovic, who he has lost a lot of time, and can PN hunt him down. But at the moment, it is Lucas Roth from Louis Allen, and then it's Daz Automatic also on the podium, rounding out that top three.
No, see, Daz made time.
Oh, he's actually made time in the apologies, he's made time in the final sector.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to actually have a look at the drive section because I can see what lap time. So Daz done his fastest lap that lap. He's done a 25.8 that lap. So he was actually, he's flying at the minute. What's Lucas Roth doing at the minute? So a 25.8. Keeks' last lap was a 27.3. So he's made 2 seconds just on Keeks in that one lap. But Keeks had a bad lap. His best is a 25 as well. So yeah, it's a 25.8 is his best, as Daz has only now just matched that.
One thing to note, the track temp very hot today, 34 degrees, as Louis Allen has just dropped off the back of Lucas Roth a little bit at this lap. So Daz just over 3 seconds to Keeks at the moment. He was only 2 point something to his teammates. So Daz has had a poor middle sector, but Louis Allen does go a little deep. Sekulovic is trying to come on Daz here as well. So Sekulovic trying to put the pressure on Daz, as Hypertech's going to try and start to catch DJ Phil here. Nota and Dean currently a lap down at the moment and are just fighting to really not be the last car out on circuit. But at the minute, could we have a double Porsche win? We saw it with Ginger Bush last night in Am. We could be seeing it with Lucas Roth. If Porsche does win, that would be race win number 54 for the Porsche. It would only be 4 wins behind the Lamborghini. As over the crest it comes, Lucas Roth, 9 tenths clear of Daz. 9 tenths clear of Louis Allen. Daz actually gained 7 tenths in the final sector on Louis Allen that lap.
Well, it looks like that it is confirmed that the McLaren seems to struggle in the middle sector, where really I think the corkscrew is actually in the final sector.
Yeah.
So I think really Daz is struggling with possibly the curb going in towards the left-hander just before the corkscrew, as we got a car wide. I think Louis Allen just running a little bit wide on exit there. But yeah, I think this is where Daz is struggling. I'm not sure why, but it's probably this left-hander. You want to take as much speed as you can into it, but it's just difficult to commit.
Well, just notice in there, through the first sector, the gap has stayed at 2.3 seconds. As they come up towards the corkscrew now, we go back to Keeks and Lucas Roth, 4 tenths of a second. Daz has actually kept his gap to Louis Allen at the same part of the middle sector of the lap, sorry. So it is still 2.3, maybe lost a couple of hundredths to Louis Allen, but it's the final sector where Daz seems to gain all his time. So let's see now if Daz has been able to get any closer to Louis Allen over the course of this final sector. There he is in the background. We can also just see Sekulovic at the very top of your screen behind the banner. Sekulovic popped into that view as well. Louis Allen, though, will be able to paint us a pretty pink picture at the end of this race. The gap now extends to 5 tenths of a second, and Daz, look, brings it down, Dan. It's 7 tenths of a second Daz gained in that final sector.
I think the thing is, that final corner, you can really abuse the curve. The rules state that you just got to have 2 wheels on the curb. And I think Daz is the only one who's really attacking those curbs on exit. And you can see that the McLaren is just obeying to what he's asking it to do in the final sector. The middle, he's struggling there. He managed to find a couple of hundreds, not a lot.
Louis bounced on the grass a little bit in front of Daz. That's going to slow him down. But yeah, you're right. I get what you're saying. He's running them curbs in that final sector. It seems to be a lot more than what he is in the first and middle sector. Gap, though, 0.5 of a second, nearly 0.6 of a second. Keegs to Louis Allen, who's really running that exit curb up the hill towards the corkscrew. Has that gap extended any since Louis Allen's touched the grass? Couple of hundredths. Daz, though, is getting 0.2 down. So he's now within that second of Louis Allen.
He is indeed. Now, is the McLaren going to start struggling with dirty air? Again, a car that's got high downforce compared to the rest of the grid. And we do know that the McLaren, as soon as it gets behind another car, it seems to struggle. And I know for a fact that Overtaker has confirmed this. As Louis Allen's looking to the final corner, and he thinks better of it. He wasn't quite close enough. I think he really needs to catch Keeks there, but he needs to catch Keeks napping. But you can see now, Daz has lost all that time. When he got into the dirty air, he's now crossing the line. He's lost a second and
wow.
1.2
yeah, 1.2.
seconds.
Yeah, 1.2 seconds he's lost to Louis Allen, that is. It's back up to 2.6. Sekulovic is only 2.4 off the back of him, as Louis Allen now really starting to put some pressure on Lucas Roth. Louis Allen was to look into the outside. Is he going to be on the inside? Keeks has bounced off the sausage curb, has a little wiggle. Louis Allen's coming now. Is he going to be on the inside for the next part of it? I think Louis Allen backed out of that one there, and he did indeed. Where's Louis Allen gone? He's off! He's off! Daz has gone past him!
Oh, Keeks, all he has to do now is hang in there. Now Sekulovic has got him as well. Sekulovic down the inside into the left-hander, but Louis Allen will get the undercut. He will get a better run, a better exit as they come up to the left-hand kink. This is going to be sketchy for the two, but Sekulovic is going to try and be brave, but he thinks better of it. But he's going to get the undercut, and he's going to have the inside for the corkscrew, where you want to be, and he's going to look to the inside. Can Louis Allen hold it strong? Yes, he does, and he stays in front. Now Daz is within 1.1 of Lucas Ross, and can he find a way through as these guys go through the corkscrew at the minute? But Sekulovic all nearly had Louis Allen there.
I believe in the chat that the best lap time is in the 25. So 1 minute 25 they're doing around here. As Hypertech is within 2.3 seconds of DJ Phil. Once again, he's trying to hunt down DJ Phil. We've got a battle on for the lead. We've got a battle on for the podium. Tibbs won't mind seeing this. Sekulovic, Louis Allen just ahead of Sekulovic here. Leader is on the final lap, but the question is who is going to win this race. We don't know who's been leading this race for most of it. 6 different leaders we've had tonight. Louis Allen hasn't led the race. He possibly still won't win a race at the moment, but it is Lucas Roth defending from Daz again like he was just before the pit stops, and Louis Allen trying to fend off Sekulovic. Tibbs is running P5, PN 6th. DJ Phil's in 7th. Hypertech's now within 1.1 seconds of DJ Phil, with Noza 9th and Dean Wysocki running P10.
I think if Daz is going to do it, he has to do it in the final sector. That's really where he seems to be a lot more confident than the Porsche. So I think right now he just needs to put Keeks under some pressure, get him loose, and then attack him pretty much in the final corners. What I would be attempting to do if I was in his shoes, but I'll probably just... Oh, Keeks!
Oh! Horrible sideways moment for Lucas Roth. Daz has now got side by side with him. He's now ahead of him going into the corkscrew. And as Keeks just threw this race away on the last lap, it's Wales versus Scotland. Daz has gone deep in the corkscrew.
Oh my God.
Coming back at him. And Keeks is round the outside. I think I unplugged my headset for a minute there. So apologies. But Lucas Roth has took back the lead, Dan. Incredible.
But this is where Daz is strong. Keeks has gone wide. So Daz is going to be on the wrong side of the track, but he's going to try and go around the outside. They bash doors, they bash again. Lucas Roth, Daz automatic to the line. Who's it going to be? This is a drag race to the line. It's
a drag race to the line, and it's Lucas Roth who takes the checkered flag from Daz automatic. Louis Allen comes home for P3. Sekulovic in 4th. What an absolute 10 drivers. Whoa. It'll be a poor night, we were saying off air. What a race we've had at the very end there. That is fantastic to see. It is going to be, I've got to get my breath, it's going to be Exit Tibbs who's going to come across the line then for P5 in this one, not the race for Tibbs. PM Motorsport is going to come across for P6. Hypertech has actually got past DJ Phil as well, so good stuff there for Hypertech. PM is going to be P6 in this one. What a race. Hypertech will be P7 with DJ Phil obviously crossing the line in P8. And breathe, Daniel. We can relax.
I was about to say, I think that was that reminded me of Brazil. I think it was 2019 or 2020 when Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton sprinted to the start-finish line for the final place on the podium, and Gasly hanged in there just as Lucas Roth just did. But wow, that was epic. And obviously, both these two shared a car not long ago in the in an endurance race on Formula Racing League, but Yeah, wow, that was epic stuff from those two. Really door banging. They kept making a mistake, and I did say Douse was very good in the final sector.
Yeah.
But oh, that was great to watch.
81 hundredths of a second was the difference there in that race. Though as Dean comes across the line to finish the race, that is all we have time for race one. We'll be right back in about 5-10 minutes time for the second race of the night and the third round 18 of the season. Grab yourself a drink and have a quick breather like we're going to in the commentary box. We'll be back momentarily. Grab yourself a drink and have a quick breather like we're going to in the commentary box. We'll be back momentarily. 10 cars. What a fucking race. What a race.
Wow.
Fuck everything we said off here. Bollocks to it. Right, I'll go for a wee. I need one.
Green light, green light. Go, go, go.
Right, I'm back. Anybody in the party? Alright, sunshine. I see they let your results down. They added your results together for Friday night. Yeah, you finished 25th in the end. Good race here, Keys. Okay, me and Dad were slagging this off, but 10 drivers, this is going to be wine. Turns out it one of the best races. It's because you won, Keys, you see what I mean? You're just too good. Alright, yeah, you were so quick, you'd have won that race easy, but you thought of the channel. Yeah, you'd have won the race on lap 1 when you passed in, wouldn't you?
Gigan!
Oh, he's twitchy as fuck, mate.
Well done, Keegs. To be fair, you're a bit twitchy yourself, mate. It's very hot. Yeah.
Brilliant. Daz doesn't want to come in for an interview after what happened last week when he couldn't concentrate. He fairly set a qualifying time at Silverstone last week, so he couldn't concentrate because of being interviewed. Okay, now. Oh. Skulovic put one in over Louis Allen. I've not seen it yet. I think he lost the car and he was on the racing line. I went off to the left and he just continued towards me as I clearly going to pass him since he was too slow. I can't play the footage, otherwise it'll come off or it'll come on the stream. He just got some fucking bloke in fucking Serbian or wherever he's from, just fucking fuck. He's not Packy. Fucking Keegs, race winner. What a guy. Is that why you text me saying how long's left to practice?
I'm stuck on the toilet.
Fuck's sake.
So, how was your preparation for the race tonight?
Yeah, shit shower done.
Did you have a shave?
Green light, go, go, go.
Get out the triple
Right.
threat.
5, 4. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport. Here for the second race of the evening. It is also round 18 of the season, which means we are 3 races from the end, and the championship is still as close as ever. 12 points separates Tibbs and Louis Allen. The top 6 can now win the championship. Daz is now mathematically out of the running, as is Noza, Hypertech and Bryn. And it's a shame that Argent's not here, because you feel he may have hung on for this one a little longer. He is on the cusp of being eliminated. But Louis Allen leads 12 points clear of Tibbs. Sekulovic 37 points behind. He moves up to P3 with Smokey's race ban. He's on 41 points. Sekulovic and Smokey cannot qualify for this second race of the day. That's due to penalty points for both. Sekulovic reaching 5 and Smokey Devil reaching 10. Sooty Apex drops to P5 with Argent P6. Daz up to 7th ahead of Noza in 8th. Hypertech moves into 9th. Bryn down to 10th, closely followed by PM Motorsport. DJ Phil's up to 12th ahead of X-Fate Silent, with Keegs now up into P14. With Smithy down to 15th, Max down 16th, and Monkey Boy down 17th place. So Lucas Roth gains 3 places there. Mordecai's in 18th place, and Dean Wasocki 20th, aka Fix 19th, but Dean on the back of aka Fix. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, it's between 2 teams. It is between SRL Pink McLaren and the Titan Oro Racing. 105 points separate them. All Titan Oro Racing need to do is outscore the SRL Pink McLarens by 8 points, and they will win the Constructors' Championship tonight. So it can be done for Louis Allen and Daz Automatic. Dynaco are 3rd, with East and West moving up to 4th. Back to Front Racing are down in 5th, with MBR Racing Team in 6th place. We only have the one driver who can qualify, but he's currently still in the pit lane. It is Lucas Roth, who wants to join us as he leaves the pits now. Daz didn't fancy the interview after last week's fiasco of not getting a lap in qualifying. So Keegs, race winner, first race of the season, race win for you. 5th of all time here at Simplay Motorsport, your 5th race win, but it was not an easy race win. Your preparation for tonight's race was an interesting bit of preparation. You at one stage thought you was going to miss the race, so to come away with the race win is very jubilant for yourself. Race quali 2, we'll let you go to focus on your qualify, but race 2, quali 2, what can you do in the session? Well, Keegs, we'll let you get back to it. Well done on the race win tonight. And the only reason we'll let Keegs go early, Dan, is I figured out first-hand last week how difficult it is to be interviewed and to race at the same time, qualify at the same time. It is not easy.
Well, he's done something very clever there. He's just stopped before the final corner, left the party, and now just nailed the final corner just to restart his line up. So...
Didn't stay in the party for the entire session like some drivers.
Wow. Either way, I do think we best get all towards the end of the night and discuss with all of them. But either way, it is what it is.
It would be something.
Best guys.
Only the good drivers can do this. That makes Porsche 54 race wins for the Porsche. As a driver who's had many wins in a Porsche car, it's tumbled down the standings over the last couple of seasons. We've not many drivers picking the Porsche towards the end of Project Cars 2, and nobody really picking the Porsche last season in ACC as well. So it's nice to see the Porsche start to get some race wins this year. It's its 4th race win of the season across all 3 groups, and start to climb back up them stats pages again.
Well, arguably, it's a very tricky car to drive. On Project Cars, it was very, as us gamers like to call it, OP. It was very overpowered in the early stages. But ever since the most recent updates for Project Cars, I say most recent, they probably would never ever be anymore. But with the latest of the updates, the Porsche was dulled down a bit. The Mercedes ended up being a more stronger car, and other cars started to show its true strengths. But I feel like on ACC, the Porsche is a dark art of this car, like a few of the other cars as well. If you run at default, it's not very fast, especially in a straight line. The Porsche is very hampered in a straight line. We saw it last week at Silverstone when Keys was just getting passed by people left, right and centre on the straight. And he even said to us in the party that his car was just so slow in a straight line. But when you take it to places like the Hungaroring, let's take Laguna Seca as an example, where there's not a lot of straights, not a lot of places to lose out in a straight line. Then the Porsche comes alive. It looked very strong at Kyalami in the hands of Gary. So the Porsche is all about nailing it in its happy zone. If it's not in its happy zone, it is a tricky car to race with. And it's like I said, it's a rear engine car, rear wheel drive car. The only car that is rear engine. And when it does step out, it is going to try and kill you.
Yeah, it is indeed. And for Lucas Roth as well, it's his 5th race win in what has been 126 race starts here at Simplay Motorsport. It feels like a better driver than to have only won 5 races.
Yeah, I think the thing with Keys is he comes and goes when he fancies, and which is obviously not a problem. He's obviously got other things going on. But he goes through a stage where he fancies racing again. He comes in, does brilliant performances, and he's probably not had actually a lot of appearances here at Simplay Motorsport. He does like unorthodox cars and unorthodox series. He loves a random weird car. So the likes of the Porsche Super Cup, he loves that kind of idea of running them, you know, and he loves driving Clios as another example, GT5s. He finds that these GT3s are just a little bit boring, same old, and a bit like myself and Fury and a few others as well, we're willing to try different things and drive different things. And as you can see, Keys is taking the challenge with the Porsche, and he's going to be driving the M6 next season, so looking forward to seeing that as well.
We'll see if he sticks to that one. In qualifying, though, at the moment, it's the McLaren, who needs 2 pole positions to get its 50th pole position here at Simplay Motorsport, that is currently on pole position from his teammate in the Honda as PM Motorsport. The next car on a valid lap pulls to one side. It will then next be Lucas Roth on that flying lap. Sekulovic and Smoky Devil on qualifying Banzo, so they cannot qualify for this one. So for Smoky Devil and Sekulovic, who are hanging on in this championship, they've got to come from the back of the pack. But as we saw in race 1, Dan, cars struggle around here, so it might not be the worst thing that they're at the back.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's all down to the setup. Sekulovic looked like he was starting to come back, and he had a bit of damage earlier on in the race, so he didn't really show his true potential. Smoky Devil, on the other hand, we don't know what this M6 is going to be doing. In the wet at Silverstone, it seemed like the best car by a mile. But we're in the desert, we're in the hot temperatures, it's dry. What can the M6 actually do? That is the question. As Keys bangs in the fastest lap of the session, saying that he's got no practice and he didn't think he was able to do well in qualifying. He's got to put it on pole.
Well, McLaren needed 2 poles for 50. Scrap that, because Porsche may be getting its 40th pole. Ferrari in the Hypertech's hands, it's back to cross the line on its 400th race start, and Hypertech doesn't improve there. What about Daz Automatic? Hypertech does improve, sorry. I forget that the line is the white line at the bottom, not where the checkered flag is on screen. So it's actually a bit further down the start line than where I was looking. Car 512 is next. So Daz goes back pole by 0.7 of a second. They come across the line, and Noza stays P5. Who's next? It's DJ Phil. Ferrari's had 400 race starts. One thing I noticed earlier, I was talking to PM Motorsport off of air, as DJ Phil crosses the line, goes 2.5 seconds off the pole time now. The Aston Martin achieved its 50th race start this season on the stats pages, and because there's no Hitman tomorrow night, next week in Pro Am, race 1, if Noza, DJ Phil and PN are all there for race 1 next week, it will be its 100th race start. So it would have achieved 50 and 100 race starts in the same season. Just proving that the Aston Martin is a bit more of a better favoured car on this game compared to the Project Cars 2 platform.
Well, obviously the old platform was the old is it V8?
V12.
I think it is. V12, sorry, as Keeks goes even faster again. So they're trading blows in the minute between Daz and Lucas Roth, as Daz goes a little bit wide as he heads out the bottom end of the corkscrew. I think the problem with the Aston Martin on Project Cars, it was the V12 version, and it was very powerful. It was very fast in straight line. We messed around with it at Daytona, and it was an amazing car. There's a circuit we forgot to mention. That's a massive US circuit. The home for Simplay
for many a season. Now that the night race,
the night race that never seemed to end. But
the night race that never became a day race on one event.
Oh, Geeks has had a big moment at Andretti turn as he's trying to get it going again. We saw the Aston Martin at Daytona. The V12 version was very, very fast at a straight line, but it handled horrendously. It's basically the Retia in this version. I think this newer Aston Martin, the V8 version, is a lot better. The car's more suited to the series. It's a little bit more responsive. It's small, it's light, it's easy to drive. And if I was recommending anyone who's never driven ACC or never played the game, I know for a fact when I was learning with Matt and a few of his mates, it was the go-to car for me. It's what I learned to race in, and I still think it's one of the best cars, including the Lexus, to learn this game. And then eventually, when you start getting comfortable with this car, you can then start experimenting with other ones. But I do think this Aston Martin is the best all-rounder for learning in and improving your sim racing.
100% agree with you. Dean was talking Pien in the pits. Dean comes back out now with 4 minutes left on the clock. Pien clearly doesn't feel like he's going to improve. The next man on a valid lap time is still Exit Tibbs before DJ Phil. And then Daz Automatic gaining on the back of DJ Phil through the corkscrew. Sorry, that's Louis Allen actually gaining on the back of DJ Phil. So not the place to be gaining on the car in front you'd want to be. But Tibbs currently lying 7th fastest for his home circuit, not having the best of speed. 4 cars within a second of each other. And it's still Lucas Roth who has that half a tenth, 51 thousandths of a second clear of the car behind. DJ Phil stays on a valid lap as Tibbs now goes ahead of DJ Phil. DJ Phil goes back ahead of Exit Tibbs and Louis Allen goes P1.
He does indeed. That's what's right. He's just caught onto the back of DJ Phil, and right now he's looking to the inside of him as DJ Phil is going to stay wide and allow Louis Allen through. But Keeks is on an invalid lap time, but it doesn't matter. Keeks will be on the front row of him. Even though if you're on pole or second, he's still really on the front row. Yeah. And it's down to the lead car then to decide which side he wants to side. Me and Fury kept discussing this for Super Cup. We started race 1, and he wanted the inside for Autumn Park. And it didn't work out for him. I went around the outside of him.
Yeah. So then race 2, he's gone, I'll have the outside, please, Dan.
Yep. He's like, what side do I need to be on? And I was like, mate, you're the one on pole. You decide. I just go the opposite side.
Good move, by the way.
I'm having the outside. Yeah, well, technically, that's where the racing line is. And if like ACC is as realistic as it is, you want to be on the racing line. So you want to have that advantage. You want to be able to have that grip. If you're on the dirt or in the marbles, you're not going to be able to.
How many times as well do you see, obviously we're both British touring car fans, in the BTCC, the car on the inside line, because he's created that tighter line into turn 1, especially at the start, how many times do you see him get mugged by, not just the guy alongside him, but the guy possibly behind him?
Oh, multiple times. I knew for a fact that Fury in turn 1 at Autumn Park, I had the clean line, the racing line, and I would have the grip going into the corner, and he made it very difficult for himself by closing himself into that pincer situation. So for these guys, they've got to really think about where they start. Whether it's not just line up double file, you really do have to think it through. It's not just put your foot down and go.
Strategy.
It is,
strategy,
So here at Laguna Seca, it's difficult. I don't know who's currently watching on board at the minute. I'm with Daz at the minute. As we go through the corkscrew, he's now coming into the final sector. He is on a lap time. So if it was me here at Laguna Seca, it's difficult to decide which way you want to be. If you want to be on the inside, you'll have the kink covered, but you will be on the dirty line going actually into turn 1. But if you're on the outsides, you will have the cleaner line when you do get into turn 1.
Now, Nosa that lap got past Dean Wasocki and then held him up at a corner while Dean was on a valid lap time. Nosa was on an invalid one. Dean has now since then backed off the back of Noza to give him that breathing space, but Noza actually ruined Dean Wisoki's lap there, so that is interesting to see. Dean's backed off of him, so Dean will hopefully get one last flying lap in. Hypertech comes to line. Hypertech goes back within a second of the top cars. Next car to the line is car 53. Tibbs is done, down in 7th place. Wow, that is a poor qualifying for Exist Tibbs there.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like being home soil as well, he probably would have been wanting more. He's slower than DJ Phil at the minute. So, yeah, I don't understand why these guys just give up and go straight to the pits. If it was me, every lap is not just
the track gets better.
Well, it's not even that. You learn every time you go out.
Yeah.
You learn something new, especially like I would spend as many laps as I possibly can, even though I know the Reti is not a very good car. I learn new things every time I hit a corner. I brake differently. I take a different line.
Daz has done.
How you're done.
Apologies, Dan. Daz has just pulled off at the exit to the corkscrew. He is done. So it will not be pole position for Daz.
I am on board with Keeks. I've gone onto his drive setup, and he's had a wiggle, and at the minute he's 3/10 down now, so he's struggling on his best.
Noza is coming to the line, then he will be the first man to finish qualifying. Will he improve on his lap time? No, he does not. Next car is DJ Phil. Lucas Roth is done then, so it is only DJ Phil who will be done. So at the moment, it is Louis Allen who is going to be on pole position. So he's not won a race this season, but it's another point in his favour because he's on that pole position row at the moment. DJ Phil still on a lap time so far. Good qualifying for Hypertech up in P4. DJ Phil so far P6, 8 tenths quicker than Tibbs. He needs 6 tenths to get himself ahead of Noza. Here comes DJ Phil to the line. Where's it going to put him? He doesn't improve, so he stays P6. There does DJ Phil, which means the Honda gets its 13th pole position and its first pole position of the season, which means that's Louis Allen's first pole position of the season as well. So the Honda now 3 pole positions behind the Ferrari. The problem is Louis Allen hasn't won a race this season, so can he get Honda's first win of the season? Can he get his first win of the season? Because it is going to be absolutely crucial. So in terms of pole positions for Louis Allen, that is only his 3rd pole position in 2 seasons here. Then, and that puts him on 3 pole positions with Bozzy Boy, Nick Lavilla, Ivor, Daz, Automatic on 3.
Load of interesting names there.
Two blasts from the past. Ivor from the last F1 game, and Daz, who's currently racing. One blast from the past was a good driver in the touring cars. One blast from the past was a bit of a nuisance at times, in general. Evening, Bozzy, if you're listening.
Either way, we've got the 2 teammates on the front row.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, Louis Allen's going for the championship. Daz wants a race win.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Daz has won a race this season.
Given to him on penalties. So technically, yes. On track, no.
So Daz will want to win one outright. But Louis Allen wants to obviously extend his championship lead over his closest rivals, which would be Tibbs at the minute, who's down in 7th, with also Sekulovic and Smokey Devil right at the back of the pack. Do they play it safe and do a Mercedes and survive the first couple of laps, or do they just go at it straight away like Barcelona 2016?
And as well, if they could get a 1-2 for the team, they're probably going to win the Constructors. We know Max Mulder here tonight, so a 1-2 for the team would be absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure they're going to want to go out in that kind of style this season, of having that race win and of having that absolutely fantastic season. We're underway, though, for the formation lap. It is the Titan Oro Racing boys on that P1 grid slot. So who will come out on top here? As it's Louis Allen from Daz Automatic. Noza has missed the race start.
That was a great start. Not.
The worst thing for Noza now is he's 12 points behind Hypertech. So Hypertech could really close in on him in this championship fight for that top 10 spot.
Well, I've obviously got the Discord set up on my phone, and obviously I get notifications, and he's just put in the Discord screaming, "No!" So this is obviously the problem with the full formation lap. The driver is now a lap down, so it really does hinder if you don't ready up in time.
One thing to note as well, the most pointless championship this season, the manufacturers, we haven't read it out for the last 2 nights. McLaren have already won it. Bentley have already got 2nd place, hence the nice gold and silver banners behind them. Ferrari, I'm not going to say he can pretty much secure third place tonight because we've got 3 Lexuses on the grid tomorrow night, and with a short grid in Pro as well, that's going to give a big hand to the Lexus. Obviously, a Lexus missing tonight in Bryn, he's on holiday. But the Ferrari could pretty much secure third place tonight in that manufacturers battle. Are you surprised by the manufacturers battle? Bar the winner, are you surprised by the manufacturers battle?
Not really. I think it kind of shows what the favoured cars are. I was expecting the Ferrari to be higher. I really thought it was going to be second with the amount of Ferraris that is in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, was it McLaren and Bentley that are at the front? So
you know, the one for me that strikes me as interesting is the Porsche, Honda, Audi. The Reti is doing fantastic, by the way. It's half the points behind the Nissan at the moment. Now, the one that strikes me is the Porsche, Honda, Audi battle. Porsche lead Honda and Audi, yet for me, I'm surprised Audi doesn't lead that battle.
Well, there is only one league that has Audi in it, which is...
this is true, actually, yes. No, this is true, yeah.
It's only Ripper and Ben who run the Audi, and also I think there's one other Audi in there as well. So there's only really 3 Audis.
Yeah, Mr. T.
Technically, Mr. T. So there you go. Those 3 run the Audi in Pro. But you've got Honda and Porsche in multiple different leagues.
Yeah, there's 3 Hondas, but there is multiple Porsches, but the Porsches haven't been around either way. Nobody has decided to go double file here, apart from Lucas Roth and Daz Automatic. So it's Louis Allen on his own up front. He's got an easy race start. It's been a bit of a poor getaway here from the Pro-Am boys, as we say, evening to Jamie Brazier. Lucas Roth has already jumped Daz Automatic. Oh, taps Louis Allen in the rear, and another tap, and Hypertech and Tibbs tap each other, and it's like bumper cars out there at Laguna Seca, as it's Louis Allen from Lucas Roth, as Louis Allen touches the grass. Kings to the outside now of Louis Allen. Does he get the move done as he emerged from turn 3? They do, and Daz is now off.
Wow, that didn't really plan out for those boys. They should have been going side by side with one another, and the Keegs wouldn't have been able to have the jump on them. But Louis Allen been caught napping there, and I think Louis obviously struggles with a little bit of lag, and I think Keegs was just a little bit too close. Meanwhile, Smokey Devil is up into P5.
He's up into P4 now because he's just got past DJ Phil. So what a rapid start for Smokey Devil that is. He's really made up some places. He's now on the back of Hypertech. He knows he's got to get ahead of Louis Allen, stay in this championship fight. He knows what he's got to do. Smokey's been in some real good form at the back end of this BMW. It's a shame the penalty points gave him the race ban. But he's now on a mission. Look, he's right on the back of Hypertech. Whatever he's done to this BMW as the season's gone on, it is working for him.
It is working very well. It's not an M6, it's an M4 at the minute.
Was that Hypertech round?
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone, and he's collected Sekulovic with him. The Sekulovic, wrong place, wrong time. He ended up just getting caught by the front end of that car. PN is bringing up the rear of the pack, but Sekulovic and Hypertech are just been caught up in all sorts of chaos there. But it is Lucas Roth who leads after lap 1, Louis Allen in second, and Smokey Devil is now in third. And Lucas Roth is having a fantastic Laguna Seca, and after the first race he seems to have nailed his car now. Yeah,
he does indeed, as Tibbs has dropped behind Dean Wisocki. Dean's actually jumped Tibbs, Hypertech and PM Motorsport now since the start of this race. He's been jumped by Sekulovic and Smokey Devil, but Dean's got Tibbs all over the back of him at the moment. He's got Daz and DJ Phil not far in front as Dean Wisocki, as Daz is gaining on the back of DJ Phil. Tibbs right on the bootlet of Dean though, but Tibbs just doesn't like he can get past him. Dean's called this race, don't know what he's done in the brake, but it looks a little more stable.
It does indeed. Maybe he's actually sorted out the tyre pressures. Meanwhile, Daz just got a little bit close to DJ Phil, and DJ Phil goes wide, as does Daz, and I feel like that is going to definitely be in the stewards' room as DJ Phil is flashing his lights.
Yeah, it's probably already in as Dean bounces over the curb. Tibbs did as well. Hold it together, Dean does, but he's lost out to Tibbs. He's lost out to Daz again now as Daz and Tibbs go side by side up the corkscrew. Daz gets them places back, and Daz back to where he left off. It's at this time he's got no Aston Martin in front of him as Dean dropped in the corkscrew. Someone was on the grass, Hypertech and Dean and DJ Phil. Look at how close that is on the exit of the corkscrew, and Dean now side by side with DJ Phil coming in. DJ Phil just looked like he tapped the rear of Dean Wisocki there, but they're both through unscathed.
Yeah, it looks like DJ Phil's getting a little bit roughed up a little bit. He just got pushed wide by Daz Automatic. Then Hypertech came along and gave him a shove, and now Dean Wisocki's giving him a little bit of a shove as well. So poor DJ Phil in the middle of everything, but it's still Keeks leading the way 1.8 ahead of Louis Allen, but it's Smokey Devil who's starting to catch the Honda.
Yeah, it is Smokey Devil.
The question is it Smoky Devil or is it Leon Fernie?
Well, this is the biggest question. If Wells is in the chat, maybe he could answer that one for us. But Hypertech trying to gain on PM Motorsport at the moment. And I saw Dean Wysocki looking up the inside of Phil. He didn't get the job done into turn 2. Former teammates back in season 2 or 3 of Simplay Motorsport's Project Car Series when they ran the McLaren together. And Dean and DJ Phil now having a fight. Hypertech up front having a fight with PM Motorsport. As the cameraman pans around now, Jamie Brazier, go on Keegan, he says in the chat. Go on Keegan indeed, because he's already now been in the lead for another 4 minutes. He's just racking up the miles here, and for a guy who on Project Cars he couldn't buy a win, he looks really good because we've seen him in recent races, Dan. He's on the podiums and he's there or thereabouts at the moment. ACC looks more suited to hit the way he likes to drive.
Well, he previous go-kart, I still think he is go-karting these days, but he knows how a car is meant to feel, and obviously ACC being a little bit more realistic, he seems to be a little bit more suited to this game, obviously being a little bit more of a realistic game. But Smoky Devil is really catching Louis Allen now. Was it 1.5 as they go through sector 2?
Yeah, sector
now he's
2.
coming to the end of sector 3. 1.5, it is now 1.2, so he's slowly chipping away at Louis Allen's lead, but also Louis Allen's sticking with Keegs as well, so Smokey's not just catching Louis Allen, he's catching the Porsche as well.
And Dan, one man who's really struggled at the minute is Tibbs, because he's been caught by PM Motorsport. He's now that gap down to an 0.8 of a second. Here comes Hypertech as well. Hypertech on the back of PN. Is he going to look up the inside into turn 1? No, he's not. Dean, oh no, that's just changed as he's crossed the line. It's DJ Phil who's now lost out to Sekulovic. So Dean Wysocki must have made a mistake somewhere. He was on the back of DJ Phil. He's now behind Noza, but Noza the lap down, having to make the progress. And Smoky Devil after sector 1, Dan, he's within a second of Louis Allen, so he's charging at the moment. And I believe Keegs has just touched the grass a little bit there. Heard the dirt being kicked up, but he manages to come back on. He's sideways through the corner. Keegs hang on to her.
Well, just like Fury, Keegs has just got brilliant car control with these rear-end cars, so he seems... a slide to him seems nothing really. He can control it and be still relatively fast in it. So Keegs is able to control that slide. But Smoky Devil looking like he's really going to start hammering these two as Lucas pulls away from them. PN Motorsport is now hustling the back of Tibbs. This is what I'm saying. The McLaren is struggling here at Laguna Seca.
It's not been a good car here all weekend, and PN really going on to the back of him. PN Motorsport, he's had a couple of good races this season, but he struggled mainly in that Aston Martin. Look, so now Tibbs is round! Tibbs is round. Hypertech manages to avoid him. Sekulovic has got past. Sekulovic may get Hypertech because of the run that Hypertech had to take. Did DJ Phil get on the back of Tibbs? No, he didn't. But Tibbs, there you go, Dan, just what you say. Tibbs is struggling, but out front, look, Smoky Devil is right on the back of Louis Allen. Keegs kicks up more dirt, so now he's got the two of them coming to catch him.
Yeah, I think right now Smoky Devil really needs Louis Allen to just lose time to Keegs now. Because Smoky Devil, I don't know how much in the championship he's behind, but he does need a car between him and Louis Allen.
42 points behind.
He's 42 points. He really needs Louis Allen to have a dreadful race right now. Right, Louis Allen's been doing what he's doing all season, scoring points where he needs to.
We had a bad week last week at Silverstone, and we've not seen Louis Allen have a bad week like that for a while. And it's been good. He's been good in the Honda this year, and it looks like Louis Allen will be one of the drivers to go back into pro. Smoky Devil wants to bounce straight back into pro after last season when he got relegated. He's another man who wants to come back up and show what he can do in the top division. It'll be interesting to see if he's stuck with the BMW, because he's looked mighty fast in it this year. As Louis Allen's now within 3/10 of Lucas Roth. It is now Smoky Devil who's within half a second of Louis Allen. Bit sideways for Smoky there. Just dropping back to Hypertech, who's Sekulovic is 9/10 in front of him. Back to the front though. Lucas Roth, Louis Allen and Smoky Devil. I'll have to tip my hat to Smoky like I do you in the red here. We know the M4 on ACC is a very popular car. It is a very good car. The M6 isn't, but Smoky is making this car work.
Yeah, indeed. It's looking as good as it used to do. Project Cars in the hands of Andy. But yeah, Smoky Devil looking very good in this M6 right now, and he's really hustling the top two. The problem is here with Laguna Seca, you just put your car in the middle of the track, just like the Hungaroring. It's just impossible to overtake around here. You really do need to have a little bit of assistance from the car in front, making a mistake. This is your closest fight. But top three separated by 9/10.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. See, as they come up the hill then towards the left-hander before the corkscrew, where it can all go horribly wrong for you. Smoky Devil is closer to Louis Allen than what Louis Allen is to Lucas Roth. I do believe since Sector 1, The Times may tell you a different story. I think actually now it's ebbed and flowed. Louis Allen's now gained on Lucas Roth through the left-hander. We'll get to see how close they are to each other as they come through the sector 2-time. No, Smokey Devil closer to Louis Allen. And look at Smokey, he's right on the back of him. Louis takes the curve a little wrong through the corkscrew, which just delays Smokey Devil's inevitability of trying to attack him here. But as the late great Murray Walker said, Dan, catching's one thing, passing is another.
It is indeed, and just a comment as well, PN's lost the place to Sekulovic. He's now dropped behind him and is now under pressure from Hypertech. He's not quite able to gain on him at the minute, but the top three are looking fantastic as Keys is pulling away from Louis Allen. Looks like the Porsche has better drive than the other two in the slow corners, but in the fast corners, the other two look very, very planted.
And again, the gap is pretty similar. Louis Allen is literally in the middle. And it's the same behind as it is in front. Hypertech attacking PM Motorsport then. PN's got that one covered into the final corner. Exit to turn 1 though. Lucas Roth has got Louis Allen right on the back of him. Got to get this turn 3 right. He does indeed. And Smokey Devil just having that bit bigger gap in front of him now can carry that bit more corner speed through the corners than what Louis Allen can at the moment. But Lucas Roth, the pit window will open at the end of this lap, I think. The leaders might just miss that pit window opening. At the moment, you have to say, it is a great drive tonight from Lucas Roth. Just to note as well, Dean at some point has passed DJ Phil then. That was 4th position as Hypertech's dropped off the back of PN a little bit.
Yeah, the top three. What does Smokey do at this minute? He knows he's got more pace than the two in front of him. He's really got to decide. The problem he has here...
Jamie's just pointed out, Dan, apologies, someone has just left. We've lost Tibbs.
He's just put in the Discord, my car is just undrivable. It's insane. I know that's not an excuse, but... yeah, he's going to take the penalty. He said the car is just not drivable tonight.
Well, so that will be a qualifying bang next week then for Exit Tibbs. That's a shame.
He's
oh, no! He's jumped the gun! He's jumped the gun! This is not going to count, Dan!
Is it not?
You have to be in the pit lane when it opens and before it closes, which means... Louis Allen had to be in that pit as the window opened. I don't think this will count for him. I think Daz is fine. I think Louis Allen has just jumped the gun. For Tibbs, though, that is detrimental to his championship. No points in race 2. A quali ban next week. He's doing a drive-through. Louis Allen's done a drive-through. Does he realise he's pitted too early?
I don't know. But if it... I'm not sure. He could have just risked it, but then obviously then you would have to come in and pit again. So would he rather be sure? Oh,
that's what I mean. Has he just clicked?
This is what Smokey Devil needs. This is what he needed.
Massively.
He needs to clear Lucas Roth now. So whatever. The thing is now Smokey's cleared one car. So Louis Allen's really shot himself in the foot there. You would have just been secure and make sure you got in at the right time. So Smokey Devil now just needs to do the opposite of whatever Lucas Roth does.
Yeah.
So if Keek stays out, he goes in.
The problem for Louis Allen here is not only has he just done a drive-through and he's just dropped all the way down to P... In fact, he's only dropped P4, so he's only lost 2 places, really, with Tibbs not being here. What that means for Louis Allen is, though, he's got PM Motorsport, he's got Hypertech right within the back of him. Daz has already pitted, so Daz, you're going to imagine, will jump him as Lucas Roth stays out, Smokey Devil stays out. Louis Allen could be around P6, P5 or 6 here after the pit stops, and that's really going to hurt him in this championship fight. Because if Smokey Devil wins the race, the difference between 1 and P5, for example, is nearly a good 10 points. It's a good 8 points as Sekulovic comes in, so it's a good 8 points he's going to lose, and then he's stayed out once again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing here. Maybe he's trying now to extend the gap. Like, he's realised he's made a mistake. Now let's just clear it. Sekulovic is in. He's got clean air now. So while Keeks and Smokey Devil are too busy racing one another, and Smokey's not decided to pit, he's going to get held up by the Porsche. So he's gaining time, but he's also he's shot himself in the foot. Basically.
The problem for Louis Allen is he didn't look like he had outright pace over Keys. He looked like they was matching each other, which meant that for Louis Allen, if he's matching that pace and Smokey Devil's matching him, he's not really gaining anything over Smokey Devil, is he?
No, not really. And Sekulovic is now in the pits, as is Hypertech and Dean Wasaki. So if all these guys have fairly decent pit stops and Louis Allen has a little messy lap or a couple messy laps, then he's in trouble. Daz is now in the final corner. Sekulovic's been dropped. So Sekulovic is going to jump Daz. And Hypertech
I think Daz is going to get him here. Daz up to speed. Here he comes on Sekulovic. Lucas Roth has pitted. Oh, this could be tight between Daz and Sekulovic, actually. Both coming through the first corners. Skulovic be up to speed. Here comes Daz. No, Skulovic. Well, good call, Dan.
Yeah.
Good call.
So
Lucas Roth in. Right, so Louis Allen, pit now, you'd say. He doesn't pit now. He carries on his way. Smoky Devil's got clear air. He's got Hypertech in front. Lap cars have to move out the way. So for then, this of Smoky Devil, he's got a chance now to really put his foot down and extend his gap.
PN's in, as is Noza, so those guys come in. And obviously Noza still scores points in the top 10. Will we possibly see that only top 10 cars only score points maybe next season? Who knows?
It's been put down on the suggestion, and this is one thing we like this season. Mike on the Discord, if you haven't got a suggestion in, make sure you get it in, because there is a suggestions feedback. We have had a lot of them come in that the admins, Mike, myself, yourself, PN, and myself, I've done it again, myself, yourself, and PN and Mike will discuss over the off-season. One I really like is it does say somewhere Dan to drive the Retia next season. I can't find it at the moment, but I think that is a fantastic one.
It also says Matt to drive the Porsche. Actually, I might write that up in a minute, because that
Matt
will
to
be
drive the Porsche. Yeah, brilliant. Right, Lucas Roth.
Keeks is out.
Yeah, Keys is out. PN's on his way out. Daz has got past Sekulovic at some point in this race. So Daz has passed Sekulovic. Hypertech in the pits. He's now been lapped by Smokey. Smokey's going long. Louis Allen.
Smokey cleared Hypertech quite early on, and now Hypertech's back onto him again. So I don't know if Smokey's had a moment. He's gone very wide in turn 1, and he's got a scuff mark on the side.
Oh, that was quick. That was quick from Louis Allen. Did he just clip the pit wall on entry as well? That was very quick from Louis Allen. You would not want a stop-go penalty now after the night you've had. So Smoky Devil, you've just said, scuff mark on his car. Oh, yeah, just on the rear. Yeah, just seen that there. Does that potentially mean he's possibly caught Hypertech somewhere or had a moment himself?
He had that before he got to Hypertech, so I'm not sure. But I don't know if he's grazed a wall or he's just touched Keeks possibly, but I don't think he's been alongside Keeks. But
he's wide again.
BMW on his own, he's looking like he's struggling now.
Yeah, it does. Now he's controlling his pace. He looks like he is struggling. Sekulovic is on the back of Daz Automatic here. 2 McLarens, and, well, we've said the McLaren struggled. We've lost Tibbs. Just goes to show how the McLarens have struggled tonight. DJ Phil and Louis Allen are into the pit stand. And look at this. Louis Allen is now away. Has got a bit to go before he's off the limiter, as Daz and Sekulovic will stay with this camera angle a minute. You hear the 2 McLarens roaring. Louis Allen is now off the limiter. Now, there goes Daz and Sekulovic. That's 2 extra places lost. He doesn't, though, get it. I thought he came in a bit quick. It turns out he was fine, but Daz and Sekulovic both through on Louis Allen. What does Daz do here now with the team game?
Smoky Devil was dropped behind Hypertech, so Hypertech's managed to work his way back in front of the BMW of Smoky Devil. So Smoky is struggling for lap time at the minute. I'll go on board of it. He's done a 30.4. And now Hypertech has to let him through again. So Smoky now seems to be struggling, and if anything, is hindering Hypertech's race because he's having to constantly get out of the way. Smoky Devil wide again. He's pushing these tyres too far. He needs to get a fresh set of tyres in now.
I don't know if Dean Wasaki had a bad pit stop because he was ahead of DJ Phil before they pitted. DJ Phil just comes off the limiter now, and Dean's not even at the final corner, so that's the end of that one. Sekulovic, so on the back of Daz Automatic at the minute. It's your closest fight on track. Smoky Devil seeming to be struggling here. Car 43, well, he's coming. Oh, Daz has lost it in the corkscrew.
Well, that's an extra place for Louis Allen there, so he passes his own teammate there. So Louis Allen is up into P4. 4 now. Obviously, the times on this game really don't update well. That's one thing that Project Cars did do better than ACC. But Smoky Devil is now into the final sector. He's had traffic and he's had people to deal with. He has to pit now, really, and he stays out again.
He's pushing his luck here a little bit, he's Smoky Devil, if you ask me. Is he just overdriving the car? Only he will know. He is in traffic. He's in the traffic of Daz and Louis Allen. That's his problem. Why not get it in the pits? He'll know why. He's got to pit next lap. I think he can possibly get this lap and one more out of it. It's going to be a to push, though, because you've got to be in the pit lane before the window closes. Not in your box, just in the pit lane. So you can't be in pit lane as the window opens. I think we saw Overtake last year actually parked at the entry to Monza's pit lane until the pit window opened because of this and got a penalty for it. Louis Allen coming today did a drive-through because he was in too early, but you have to be in pit lane before the window shuts. So if you're in the pit lane, you've got to cross the white line on the limiter with 2 seconds left. You're fine.
Yeah, I think Smoky Devil will be fine. He just needs to. I think he's made a mistake here. He stayed out too long. He's probably cooked the rear tyres. He's gone off somewhere. He's got some form of damage to the side of the car. I don't know where from though. But Keegs has just been consistent and minding his own business.
I was just about to say, Keegs was ahead of Smoky Devil before the pit stop. Smoky's obviously tried a strategy where he goes longer to Keegs. You said do the opposite. He's done the opposite. He stayed out for longer. The problem is he's made too many mistakes as Smoky. Does Keegs take this race lead back, do you think? Who's gone through? Daz has gone through. Is that Hypertech coming through as well? It is. Oh, stay there. Jeez, that was all a bit close. Smoky Devil now into the pit lane.
In the background.
So what damage does Louis Allen have to his car now then? Smoky Devil. Sekulovic is ahead of Smoky Devil in this championship fight as well. So these two could be gaining points back. We could have a four-way battle for the championship next week. That could be interesting with 2 races to go. Is Louis Allen struggling with damage on this car? Pien now, the next car behind him before DJ Phil. He's just on the exit of the corkscrew. Dean's at the corkscrew, so it's only really Pien that's close enough to Louis Allen. Smoky in the pit sent. Keegs is coming up towards the corkscrew now, Dan. He's just in it. This will be close.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Smoky Devil was quite a way down the pit lane, so he's got a long way to go on the limiter. Keegs is only now coming into the penultimate corner. If Keegs is in the final corner by the time that Smoky goes green, I think Keegs
Smoky's only halfway down the pit lane here, so I think Keegs has got him. Keegs has got him here. Lucas Roth. Yeah, look, there you see Smoky Devil. He's still got quite a way to go to get off the limiter. There's Keegs. Can't even see Smoky Devil. Well, Smoky Devil, he's lost a lot of time.
But the thing is, well, has he sorted out tyre pressures as well? He can obviously cross that green line. Oh, he's clipped the wall! As he's clipped the wall, he's gone over the white line.
So he's hit the wall. That's going to give him damage. Now, the stewards are obviously going to have a look at the white line there.
Sekulovic is right there as well. Yeah. Sekulovic seems to be able to drive a car with damage because he hasn't repaired the front end.
He's not repaired it all season, Dan. It's been all season for Sekulovic. Me and Ben have said this numerous of times throughout the season, how he drives his car quickly as well with the damage on board. And if Smokey's just gave himself damage here, well, these two are fighting for the championship. Smokey is 42 points off the championship. Sekulovic is 38. At the minute, Smoky Devil for second place, 23 points. Louis Allen for 6th, only 15. So again, 8 points difference. Sekulovic 21 to 15. That's a 6-point difference. So they're gaining on Louis Allen. Louis Allen will still have an advantage here. But still, Louis Allen's got damage now. He's passed Hypertex. Louis Allen's up to 5th. He's making mistakes. Smoky Devil's had a bad race. Sekulovic is the one in this second race. It's had a race you could kind of be like, right, I'm staying in this championship fight.
Louis Allen has got past Hypertech, but he then ran wide, and now Hypertech's attacking him up towards the corkscrew. They're going side by side now towards the corkscrew. They go. Has Hypertech got the inside? No, he thought better of it, and Louis Allen stays in front. But Louis Allen's really just he's playing with the devil at the minute, and in the minute
he's pushing his luck, isn't he? There's a yellow flag. That is Noza who is off. So hopefully he gets that going. Louis Allen seems so slow there as he was very wide through the penultimate corner. And that is a shame for him then. So he went wide, but he carries on his way at this moment in time.
Keegs has got quite a significant gap now over Smoky Devil, and he seems more comfortable at the minute. And obviously with no pressure from the guys behind, he can just...
Nose has run out of fuel. Nose is in the chat. He's ran out of fuel.
He's going to have to return to the pits, and obviously he'll have to get going again. But
obviously this is a new feature for this season. PS4 version, for some reason, doesn't add time when you add fuel to your pit stop, as it should do. So what we did is we turned the fuel off so that the drivers had to run the race fuel, and if they tried to cut it as close as possible, they'd run out. Some of us, in races, decide to run fuel map 8 and save fuel for the entire race and wonder why we're so slow. Others cut it fine, and Noza then has got to wait in the pits for 2 minutes.
Yeah, so we're talking about lap times here in a minute. Lucas Roth actually lost time to Smoky Devil. He did have a gap of 8.1. Smoky has brought it back down to 7.3.
Louis off, and Hypertech's coming through. Apologies, Dan. Louis went so wide at the left-hander, coming up the hill, and Hypertech's back through. Louis down to 6th place. Carry on, Dan. Apologies.
I just said that Smoky Devil has actually gained even more time. It was 7.3 when they were in the final corner. Smoky Devil now crosses the line. It's 5.7 now. So Lucas Roth is losing time very quickly, as the last lap from Smoky Devil was a 24.6, while Lucas Roth, on the other hand, if I have a look at his lap time, his last lap was a 27.4.
They've got to go at roughly a second a lap. It's down to 4.9, Dan, so they are coming. Is Lucas Roth running out of fuel? Can you see engine maps? He's on the gravel! He's on the dirt! He's pushed the curbs too much. Where's Smokey? He's coming. He'll be seeing Lucas Roth twitching all over. Smokey's back in this for a race win now because Lucas Roth has started to throw this one away.
I can't quite see the engine map, but I believe he is on engine map 8. So that is the Porsche's fastest settings. So I don't think it's fuel that's the issue. I think it's possibly tyres.
Tyres potentially going, and there is also a potential discussion in that suggestions feedback we were saying about tyres from Ripper in terms of pit stops and no pit stops and what the tyres will do for next season. It's all possibly going to change next season. And he's now right on the rear wing of Keegs here. And Sekulovic is coming with him, and Smokey will need this with Louis Allen. He's apparently back ahead of Hypertech. Yes, he is. Smokey will need these extra couple of points.
He is the head of Hypertech, but he's not the most planted at the minute. But Keegs, is he just struggling with tyre pressure?
Smokey's on the inside! Oh no.
Oh, he is the curb though. He is that sausage curb. He thought better of it. He pulled out of that while he could. But yeah, Smoky Devil here he's got the pace. He just needs to wait for a mistake from Keegs, and he'll have him. But obviously, he can't wait too long. Meanwhile, Sekulovic and in the McLaren, I think the McLaren looks like a shark. And
he's in the wall!
He's in the wall!
He's in the wall. Daz is now coming around. I don't know if he bounced off of it and carried on going. He did. Let's have a look at the front of that car. It's a bit lifted on the bonnet.
Damage.
Yeah. He's going to struggle. That is front right major damage, I'm going to say as well. The Smoky Devil pushing Keegs up the hill towards the corkscrew. Really is pushing him. Pulls to the outside line now at the corkscrew. Keegs defends the inside, does he? Yes, he does. Smoky has to tuck back behind. This BM looks strong.
It does, but I think it seems to go for a stage where the tyres are really good, and then he just drops off all of a sudden. But right now, Keegs, I think, is struggling with tyres. I don't know what's happened. Maybe they've either deflated or ballooned, either one. He's not confident in that car now.
Smoky Devil gets the cut back on Lucas Roth, and he's now got the inside line as they come down the start line. Lucas Roth has lost out to Smoky Devil before they get to the start line. Smoky leads this race. Question, Dan, just before that move happened, Louis Allen is 11 seconds behind Daz. Would Daz sacrifice P4 or the chance of third with Sekulovic struggling for Louis Allen?
I don't know. I think it's a difficult choice, really. I think Daz needs to give his own championship, while Louis Allen is also, he wants to win the title, and Smoky Devil and Sekulovic outscoring him now. I think it's going to be a hard decision from those guys.
10.9 seconds, Daz to Louis Allen, Daz to Sekulovic. So is that close? Because Sekulovic struggling with damage. Daz doesn't look like he's... The McLarens have just looked awful cars this week. They really have. Daz, 12 seconds to Sekulovic. We're going to find out what will happen in a few moments' time. Hypertech dropped off the back of Louis Allen. Pien's actually gaining on the rear wing of him. DJ Phil kind of on his own out the corkscrew. Dean's been lapped. He's down in ninth, and Noza missed the start, went a lap down, and then had a 2-minute pit stop because of running out of fuel. Lucas Roth has dropped right off the back of Smoky Devil. He has just gone since getting past him. He's in another league at the moment.
Yeah, but we do know that BMW seems to have issues and twitches and makes mistakes, so anything can still happen as long as Keegs... Oh, he goes wide, but as long as Keegs can stay within range, Smoky Devil has got a mistake in him, so Keegs is still not out of this just yet. He's already got a win with the Porsche, and he's not prepared, obviously, that rear-end damage, so... Is he
possibly
still
playing with the car, yeah, potentially so. One thing to note, though, is that Daz here will be inside of... Oh, I tell you what.
That was kind of close.
Was that Daz coming back across to the racing line there?
I don't really know. I think I think both of them. It takes two to tango, and I think both of them weren't wanting to. One of them was doing the tango, and the other one was doing the waltz. So it seemed like they weren't on the same
wavelength. Yeah. Louis Allen now 9.6 behind Daz. Daz is bringing the gap down to Sekulovic, but slowly here. So. It's a tough one. Hypertech PM was 4.6 at the last sector. It's now 4.6 still, so they are pretty much matching each other at the minute. Daz is in a tricky... Daz is in a... Yeah, compared to race one, it's a flat second race. Daz is in a pretty tricky situation. He wants the podium himself. If he gets a good podium, he's probably going to jump Argent, get closer to Sutty for a top 5 in the championship. With Tibbs not scoring points, that Constructors is now secured, as Dean Wysocki has a big wiggle in the background. The question is does Daz think of the extra point or two for Louis Allen in this race, as he's gone so deep at the corkscrew? Louis Allen will catch him a bit here. What would you do, Dan, in this situation? Constructors in the bag. You're fighting for a top 5 with Sutty, who's possibly not back next week, as Dean's had another moment at the corkscrew. Nose unlaps himself. Louis Allen puts a lap on Dean now. What would you do, Dan?
What we're talking now, we're talking what? So the top 3 go up into Pro, don't they? So at the minute, it's looking like Louis Allen, Smokey Devil, and Sekulovic, correct?
Well, at the minute, Louis Allen, Tibbs, and Sekulovic.
Right, okay, so realistically then, Daz is not really in the promotion zone. He's probably stuck in Pro-Am. He is not really in a championship fight with anyone at the minute. It's probably losing more points to Smokey Devil and Sekulovic, who are both in front of him. Louis Allen can win the championship with a little bit of assistance from Daz. Now, I really wouldn't know. I personally would play the selfish game and just focus on myself. I've never been in that situation before, so it's interesting to see what these guys would do. But I think in this sense, if I was Daz, as soon as you slow down to let your teammate through, you make a mistake. He's not going to slow down now because you've only got 30 seconds left of the race. So it's pretty much just one more lap. So if it was me, I would just carry on.
Fair enough. Smokey Devil comes to the final corner then. We haven't had word from race control that leader is on the final lap. Smokey's got 6 seconds to play with here if he wants to slow down. He doesn't. He's going to fancy another lap here. He comes across the line now. 9 seconds. Now the leader is on the final lap. Daz is 8 seconds off Sekulovic. So Sekulovic is really struggling. I think he's hit something else, Dan, because that looks worse.
Possibly so, but he's I can tell you the lap times he's doing 28.1. He's crossing the line now, which is a 30.0. So that time's coming down. So really, he's got a chance of a podium here, Daz. As Daz now comes to us, he's done a 25.1. So he's got to. They got to choose now. So does Daz try and hunt down Sekulovic, which is unlikely to go unless he has another big moment? But Louis Allen's just nowhere near Daz at the minute to really overtake him. So they're kind of in weird limbo mode. But Sekulovic is struggling massively right now.
He is struggling massively, and it is interesting to see what will happen out here. It is, though, going to be Smokey Devil, who will look like he's going to win this race. Where he is at the moment on track, he's at the corkscrew. It's been absolutely fantastic from Smokey Devil in this race. He's been really, really good. He's been the man to watch in these last couple of weeks. Race ban in race 1. Has that put to end his championship fight? Well, he's made sure he lays down a marker by taking his 3rd win in a row in terms of races he started. He won the last 2 at Silverstone. He wins now at Laguna Seca as he comes out the final corner. It's going to be Smokey Devil, who has a race win, but bounces back. Who has a race ban, but bounces back with a race win. Smokey Devil, your race winner. Hats off to probably the driver of the day. Lucas Roth is going to cross the line for that P2. Great job from him, as now Sekulovic into the final corner. Looks like
giving the place.
He is. Right. Sekulovic is going to come across the line for P3. Daz is giving the place to Louis Allen. So then that is interesting work from them two. Louis Allen is going to take 4th from Daz P5. They are, though, your Constructors champions at Laguna Seca. Titan Aura Racing will take the Constructors Championship. Hypertech, a P6 for him. He's had a good night as Hypertech. Just a few mistakes himself that he has made. Dean Wysocki crossed the line for P9. PN Motorsport is going to cross the line for P7. DJ Phil will cross the line for P8. And Noza has already finished a couple of laps down in P10. So Daz did give the place then.
Yeah, now the question is, obviously Louis Allen's been involved in a few incidences here tonight. Will that be undone? That's the question. But either way, congratulations to the pair of them, because they are Constructors champion for Pro-Am. It was the Bentley duo of Holty and Argent. Obviously no Holty or Argent here tonight, so it's going to go to a brand new constructor, and it goes the way of Louis Allen and Daz Automatic in the McLaren and the Honda.
It does, so let's hope we can get them two in for a quick chat before the end of this one. That, though, is the end of Pro Am. The finale will be at the Hungaroring next week, and this is something we are looking forward to. The championship battle, 32 points is the gap from Louis Allen to exit Tibbs. One hand on the title, you'd imagine. Sekunovic is 36 behind. Smoky Devil is 36 behind. Sooty Apex P5 cannot win it. Argent's P6. Sorry, I haven't actually updated this. Argent is P7. Daz is P6 in the championship standings now. So that is the way that one goes. Argent P7, Noza P8, Hypertech Knights, PN goes 10th ahead of Bryn, who's on holiday. DJ Phil moves up to 12th, X-Fate 13th, Keegs moves 14th place, 1 point behind X-Fate Silent, Smithy 15th, Max Mulder 16th place from Monkey Boy 17th, Mordecai in 18th place, Dean Wasaki goes ahead of AKA Fix for 19th and 20th. And we are joined by Daz, who is one half of the Constructors Champions for Titan Oro Racing. 540 points. They are well clear of SRL Pink McLaren. East and West, though, can now. The Aston Martin boys, the DJ Phil and PN, could get second place. They are only 15 points behind. Sorry, 25 points behind in this Constructors battle. Dynaco Racing down to 4th. Back to front in 5th and MBR in 6th place. So while we are only joined by Daz, race 1 was the exact start you wanted all season. You got into the lead of the race. You managed to hang on for a P2, though. It was a good race, wasn't it, race 1?
Yeah, really good at the end. Made a couple of mistakes. Made a couple of mistakes in the pits as well. So I got my just desserts, really.
Race 2 didn't go your own way. The McLaren looks like it has struggled this evening.
It's me that struggled, not the car, to be honest. I got a little touch off Hypertech. I think it was turn 2. Was probably on the gravel. It was only a slight touch. But obviously, cars went flying past then.
Cars went flying past, but you have done it. You and your teammate Louis Allen, the Welshman and the Ecuadorian, Constructors Champions at Laguna Seca, the same place as where the Acura won its Constructors Championship. The Hondas won it now. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, really good. Credit to Louis. He's done a great season, to be fair. Where I've been tangled up in all manner of chaos, not getting too many points. It's good that I've managed to at least put some on the table today.
Now, you helped your teammate out, we saw there at the end. You allowed Louis Allen back through. Team tactics there, obviously, for that championship next week?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I think it's the second time I've done it this season. He's close to winning it, so it's the least I can do.
Well, Daz, congratulations on tonight and congratulations on the Constructors. Oh, sorry, go on, Dan.
I just wanted to ask that. You didn't fancy doing qualifying then and doing an interview at the same time after your shenanigans?
After last week, Dan, no chance, mate.
One final thing I forgot to ask you, actually. You come side by side with what was your teammate on Friday night. That was a good end to the race one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Really, really good. Bit of door banging at the end, but yeah, I thought I would have got the run out on him, but being on the outside, there's no chance.
So after that door banging with Keegs, is it confirmed that Keegs is the number 1 driver and you're the number 2?
Well, as long as his internet stays intact, yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Friday night's race over on FRL's channel, Simplay Racing 2 of Daz and Lucas Roth. Welshie, former driver here at Simplay Motorsport, decided to chop the internet cable. It's clearly fixed. Welshie's clearly stood outside holding it together so that Keegs can race tonight. So well done, Daz, to you for the Constructors win, and well done tonight.
Well done, Keegs. Thanks, lads.
And speaking of Keegs, Lucas Roth is with us, P2 tonight. Keegs, it's been a fantastic night for yourself, but you just didn't have it in this second race. Yeah. P2, though, it's a good night, good haul of points for yourself. You was texting me the other day saying, where's the highest you can get in the championship? You've moved up to 14th place with a good haul of points here. Hungaroring next week. It's a track that many of us know on Formula 1. ACC is a different kettle of fish, though. It's a tight, twisty circuit. Overtaking's going to be hard. What can you do there? Well, Keegs, well done on tonight's results. You have got the fans' vote for driver of the day.
You didn't fancy the M6 after it passed you tonight then? You know, you done your weird of... you done your... Oh, the M6 is next season. Confirmed?
You've been. Won't be the first time you've been in the M6. Keegs, well done tonight. Fans driver of the day. Congratulations. Smokey, turn to you. Race winner. What a shame about the race 1 ban, because you 36 points off the championship lead. You could have been right in the mix going into next week.
I know, I was raging. I was gutted the day when I found out. I was like, oh, no way I'll get a ban. But I'm glad I turned up for race 2, and I'm just on fire now with this BMW. It's just growing to me every week. It's just getting better. So,
well, I'm looking at your results here in the races you've started. Obviously, discounting race 1 tonight. Your last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races, you've been on the podium 6 times. 4 of them, including the last 3, are race wins. So you're really gelling with this BMW.
Aye. It's liking me now, and I'm liking it. So it can only get better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Just getting faster and faster. Do you know what I mean? Every time I put a quick lap time in, I go, right, that's it. And then the next time I can go another wee tenth, and another tenth, and another tenth. It's just about eating the time out. Do you know what I mean?
Hungaroring next week, as we just said to Keegs, it's a tight, twisty circuit. It's more well known for its Formula 1 than its GT racing. You need to hope that a lot of drivers are here next week to create the space between you and Louis Allen.
Aye, well, that Porsche, I know that Porsche is good in Hungaroring. I've taken that in Hungaroring a few times, and that's good in there. So as long as Lucas Roth can stay at the front, then keep everybody else behind us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the main game. Try and go for this championship. I don't know if it's doable, but one race to go. I think I need a double win, or double podium anyway, at least, to try and have a chance.
Well, Smokey, congratulations on the night. Well done in the BMW. Dan, driver of the day, and final thoughts from yourself?
Well, first things first, Smokey, come on, man, save your footage, because if you'd saved your footage all this season, you could have been winning this championship. But either way, it's been for only 10 or 11 cars we've had tonight, it's been a dramatic night's worth of racing here at Laguna Seca, and once again, it delivers. Even though we used to call it Spooky Laguna, there's still some little glitches and stuff, even on this game, where it seems to be a bit a bit sketchy. But either way, it's been a fantastic drive. Nice to see the BMW, the McLaren, even the Honda, every single variety of cars going at it. But for me,
that's what I'm glad. I'm glad it's other cars are doing better than just the normal McLarens and Audis. Do you know what I mean? Because they just stick to the track like glue. Do you know what I mean? But giving yourself something else to drive, a bit of a challenge, learn the game as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we like to see. Yeah, fancy the Retia next season, Smokey, in Pro.
Do you know what? I've actually tried that, and it's not too bad. But I have to say, the corners are dreadful.
Yeah, well, either way, for me tonight, Matt, it's going to have to go for Keys as driver of the day. What a fantastic driver.
Aye, well done, Keys. What a drive.
Yeah, that's it from me though, Matt, and looking forward to the Hungaroring, and obviously make sure you tune in tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. I will be bringing you the action with PM Motorsport, as the Pro Boys will be heading to the grid. Not as many drivers again, but I'm sure if they were as little drivers as we had tonight, and it brings the amount of action, then it should be a good night's worth of racing. Overtaker in the McLaren is looking relatively quick around here, but also, can Ripper carry on his dominance of winning races? He's got the championship wrapped up. It's now just him and Killer Camel. Can they concede the constructors? Matt has basically just got to finish the season because Bree seems to not be able to make tomorrow night, I believe, but we will see what happens. It's all still to play for in the constructors, but I think Killer Camel and Ripper are on their way to possibly becoming constructors as well. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night, as I will be bringing you the action here at Simply Motorsport.
And don't forget to tune in Sunday night. We'll be back at Silverstone for the Porsche Carrera Cup, where Fury can wrap up the championship on Sunday. He's been absolutely dominant in that championship so far. Only Hitman has won another race this season. Fury has taken 5 wins from 6 races. Will he carry on that form this Sunday at Donington Park. And as always, tune in next week, Am and Pro Am, next Tuesday and Wednesday night. Myself and Fiore will be live on Tuesday, and I believe Ben is back with me next Wednesday for the season finale. It is Louis Allen, Tibbs, Sekulovic and Smokey Devil, all for the Drivers' Championship, who will come out on top at the Hungaroring next week. That's all we have time for here. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. Hit the thumbs up and the bell to be notified when we are live. As Dan said, 8 p.m. UK tomorrow night for the penultimate rounds of Pro. We'll see you next time now. Good night.
Good night.
Pro. See you next time now. Good night. Oh, and we're out. Right. Oh, yeah, you've got to do... I don't know if you're on your own for comms for race 1 tomorrow night. I don't know if you saw PN's message.
I'd rather do it on my own, to be fair.
I was fucking raging about race 1, but I couldn't do it. I was raging.
That event, because Mike's not reset this, 60 minutes. Yeah, unlucky, man. 10 minutes, 30, 10.
Gotta save your footage, mate. Save your footage.
Reset. Go. Won't be on comms race 1 due to in real life. Yes, we know. You've said 50,000 times. Do you know that one that DJ Phil hit somebody, or someone hit DJ Phil? It's gone straight in. It's gone straight. You said on comms that'll be straight in. It has.
Yeah. Daz running wide.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah. Pushing him wide. Yeah.
Daz hates DJ Phil.
Oh, he's not dirty. Not dirty to get by.
Oh, right. Smoke it. Well done on the race win again, buddy. Keegs, well done tonight.
Nice one.